gives Siya Kolisi and Oxen Chair time to prove their fitness ahead of the first test. Soweto Giants and Amazulu in a three-way tie at the top of the Betway Premiership standings. And Cameroon make the most of their second chance as they win WAFCON for the first time.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 23 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN, the legal team of alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Cat Matlala is set to submit a supplementary affidavit to the Madlanga Commission, while his testimony has been postponed to next week, Monday.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Seven minutes after 3 o'clock. Great having you with us. Good afternoon. You're on 702. John Perlman is not here. My name is Thabo Shola Mashao. I'll be with you all the way till 6 o'clock this evening. I'm thrilled to be in your company. We've got a lot to go through. A very newsy day for us, as you might have been glued to your screens or your favorite radio station, 702, I'd like to presume, and various of our platforms, watching Cat Matlala, Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, as he appeared before the Madlanga Commission. Although he did not answer a number of questions, to the frustration of the evidence leader, Advocate Sello, he invoked his right not to incriminate himself. There has been a tussle of sorts between Cat Matlala's advocates and the commissioners, because they have uttered the fact that it cannot be that every single question will be incriminating to him. At least there are a few things that he ought to say. EWN reporters are looking at that story, and we will be touching base with them as soon as possible to give you the latest and analysis on that very important story. The leaders of SADC, Zimbabwe, Zambia, South Africa, Swaziland, Mozambique and others have gathered in South Africa for that big SADC meeting. It's an extremely important meeting. Of course, a number of people have argued that SADC is toothless. They only talk, no action. They do not hold each other accountable. And it is just a musical festival when they come together, cheering each other up, and nothing ever gets done. Is that your view about SADC? Our reporter will give us the latest as to what's happening in that important SADC meeting as well. You'd remember that in 1994, just 48 hours before the 27th of April, that very important day of voting for the first time, at least for all South Africans, a very important cabinet meeting was held. F.W. de Klerk was the president at the time, and he informed his cabinet for the very last time, as they said, that the ANC, led by Nelson Mandela, was okay with the fact that apartheid crimes should be pardoned and perpetrators of those crimes should receive indemnity of sorts, as they were motivated by political events of the time. You'd be aware that a number of people have accused Nelson Mandela of selling out and the ANC of selling out. Well, a document has been declassified. The minutes are now there. The Daily Maverick zooms into this very important historical story. Did they truly sell out? 10 minutes after 3 o'clock, and as we move to your favorite features, on the other side of 5:30, 44 years ago, a CD came out. The very first CD came out, and we all enjoyed the music that accompanied the disc. Oh, the compact disc. It was so amazing. What was your very, very first disc that you bought? In my case, with your own money. For me, this was it.
Or is it just a lonely talking again? Are you really ready for love, boy? Or is it the lonely talking
Whitney Houston, Lonely Talking Again. And I'd love to hear what was your CD that you bought for the very first time. 11 minutes after 3.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7.
and 106 FM.
Indeed, 702 it is. The rest of the crew is here with us. Jonathan Ferben and Rifuwe are the producers and the big chefs of the show, and they are here to make sure that everything else goes according to plan. Karabo Charlie will give us traffic, and he will give us the very, very, very latest and help you with which routes to avoid and which ones to prefer as you navigate your way from work or to work at this particular point. And Karabo Malapile is also here with us. She's a technical producer pressing all the buttons. And of course, Tholakele Mganga will give us the very latest in the world of sports. And so will Mbali Dlamini, who will keep us updated from EWN. All that and more. And of course, you, the most important ingredient of this particular show, and we are thrilled to have you with us. And speaking of Rifuwe, she's right here. Rifuwe, good afternoon, and I hope you're well.
Good afternoon, Chabo, and to the rest of the 702 family.
And Karabo, you good?
I'm good, sir, and you?
Great. Everything going well?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. I just had a question on my mind about possibly there are times when Lady Luck doesn't really smile on you and you feel like everything else is falling apart. You know, the day when nothing ever goes well. Nothing goes well. Perhaps you're going for an interview and it starts raining and you fall into a puddle of water and your beautiful suit is stained. That particular day when Lady Luck did not smile on you at all and you felt the entire world was against you. Rifuwe, did you ever have one of those days?
Sadly, I've had that. Lady Luck has not always been kind to me, but you know what? I know her address, so does karma. Anyway, I remember when I first came for a job interview to Johannesburg,
Yeah.
right? But I came using taxis, you know, the long distance taxis.
Yes.
And I wasn't really familiar with, is it Wanderers? That area, like with the taxis, Bree/Wanderers.
Yes.
And it was so unexpected. You know, you're looking for a job and suddenly we want to see you tomorrow and you're like, ooh, I need to make a plan. Okay, no problem. So because we weren't prepared and I took whatever I could. And I remember my luggage bag wasn't the best. It was, doch, let's just get them.
Yeah.
My brother, even before I got to Johannesburg, this guy loads my bag in, breaks, opens wide.
What?
So some of my shoes were, and it was a lot in the taxi. I remember finding my Apple somewhere at the back seat.
My
It was a
goodness
lot.
me.
Okay, fine. Then we eventually go, right?
Yeah.
And then when we got to Johannesburg, someone was supposed to fetch me.
Yeah.
My phone was on, I had no battery. So I sat there, I'm crying, and the language barrier. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to say, listen, this is my name. I'm trying to get to this place. And no one wanted to help. And
Did
I
you
sat
speak
there.
Mandarin?
I probably was speaking Mandarin
I'm
to
just
them.
thinking,
Because
why
I'm
would
like,
there
oh,
be
guys,
a language barrier?
are we not
in
speaking
Joburg?
Sesotho here? Yes. It was,
Joburg, we speak everything in
I was
Joburg.
so confused. Maybe I think Lady Luck was like, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you a lesson. When
Like language barrier in Joburg.
I just think that day was just
Yeah.
a day where things were just going wrong. And I just remember eventually finding the police. I guess sometimes
Yeah.
they have the vans
Yes,
there.
yes.
I'm like, Baba, please help me. And I started crying because I was tired, I was hungry, and I was cold. And then eventually I got to Tembisa because that's where I was going to go. Got to Tembisa and I got lost also when I went for my job interview. So she hit me
So
twice.
sad, so
She's like,
sad.
"Bah, bah,"
So
twice.
sad. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
but I'm stronger now. Listen, I'm saying,
Yeah, no.
There's something about the producers of this show. They love singing. All of them. I mean, really.
we're talented like that.
You should hear
Yeah.
us at the music, producer's booth. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Everyone is
on
singing.
another level, yeah.
And
Leave us
you,
to the
and you,
producers.
Mr. Charlie?
Well, me, it was when I started working here at Prime Media
Yeah.
many years ago. I used to commute with a scooter.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, one of those, you know, those
Not even a bike, a scooter.
A scooter, like those Vespa kind of designs.
Yes.
But
Ampur. He said ampur.
it was not a
Which means
Vespa.
almost.
I couldn't afford a Vespa.
Okay, carry on, sir.
Vespas, so it was like a Go Motor or something like that.
Yeah.
So I used to commute from Germiston to Sandton. And I remember I was working the breakfast show. Early in the morning, we have to be here at about like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I leave the house. It's all good. It's a nice, beautiful morning. Haki kenaga Josie.
Yeah.
Whoa, it starts pouring, eh?
Really?
It pours. And I'm gonna go, there's no way I can stop.
Yeah.
I'm still new here. I can't just say, guys, I
It's
can't come to
raining.
work. It's raining like this.
And
I got to the office soaking wet.
What?
But you know what? I was like, my man, not a mouse. I'm gonna, brave this thing through. And I worked my shift, and by the end of the shift, I was dry.
Really?
I had my shoes outside.
Was there another way though?
Yeah,
Oh,
there
boy.
isn't.
You were gonna get dry eventually.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I
also
mean-
the attitude of the people that he was working with, I'm sure. It dried him up a bit.
It's like, what happened to you?
Yeah, but I mean, it's, one of those days, and that's what we're asking. We'd like you to really share with us on 072-702-1702. One of those days where you feel like nothing is ever going right. Nothing. For me, it was, I think this year, I was going to the mining in Daba. And firstly, I missed my flight. And when I got there, my battery was very low. I went to the hotel where I booked, and they told me that the booking was cancelled. Because when it's mining in Daba, you know that the prices are way high, and the hotels, I think, are a bit naughty because they give away some of the bookings and reservations to people who pay more and so on. And they said my reservation was cancelled, and why didn't I follow up, some stuff like that. And when I tried to book for a hotel again, I couldn't because my phone was off, my laptop, my tablet was not working because of battery issues again. I was stuck in Cape Town for about 5 to 6 hours. Stranded. Phone is not working. Nothing is working.
I'm sorry.
I was like, Then fortunately a friend came through for me. Then I managed to. But it's one of those days, where you're thinking that the world has turned its back on you and no one else loves you in the world.
I had an extreme one recently, actually. I think it was last week, Thursday. So I'm not feeling well. I was sickly off, but then I had to drive my kid to school.
Yeah.
And then guess what? I was stuck in traffic, a big traffic. And halfway through there,
How ironic.
my son started getting an allergy.
You can't
His
miss the
eyes
irony.
started swelling up.
Oh, no.
So I had to turn back and take him back home.
Oh,
And then we were in
no.
bed. And later on, I had to take him to the doctor.
wow.
It was a mess.
Oh, wow. Let's hear about you. I'm keen to hear your story as well. When Lady Luck turned her back on you. 072-702-1702. 19 minutes after 3 o'clock.
For more about 702,
Go to primemediaplus.com.
Let alone Lady Luck. How does traffic look this afternoon, Mr. Charlie? The roads to use, some to avoid. Has it gotten busy as yet?
No, not that much busy at this stage. Still early days, Prati. However, if you're heading towards Germiston, that's leaving the Joburg CBD heading into Germiston. There's an accident scene in Cleveland. This is on the M2 eastbound near Cleveland Road, causing heavy delays all the way from George Koch Road. This is actually the only thing you can really worry about at this stage. The rest of 702 land looking pretty good. However, look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenvale at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck. Traffic lights also not working still in Rudeport at Christian Devet and Paul Kruger. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
Clement Maniatella,
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Does the healing depend also on the apology, for instance? Because there are sometimes people who say, the only way I'm going to heal is if my father says sorry. Is it dependent on that?
To some extent, even more difficult for people who don't even know their fathers. So how do I heal something that I don't even know? But sometimes when we get to hear the circumstances around their absence, sometimes
It helps.
some women, thinking that they are protecting their children, they may rather not introduce this child to this person. But this child then says, I can rather deal with the pain of knowing this is what he was or this is who he was than not.
Anele Siswana is a clinical psychologist.
Clement Manyatela.
9 to 12 on 702.
Experience orchestral brilliance as the Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra returns for its early spring season under the baton of celebrated South American conductor Deborah Waldman. The program features sensational violinist Lydia Baich performing Bruch's violin concerto and other breathtaking performances. Don't miss this extraordinary journey through the heart of romanticism. Thursday, 20 August at 7:30 p.m. at the Linda Auditorium. Tickets available through Quicket.
People say you should stop and smell the flowers. Nobody said you couldn't buy 6 while you're at it. At Chamberlain's Blooming Good Savings, get an assorted 6-cell seedling tray for only 29 Rand and a bag of Colterra compost for 25 Rand while stocks last. Plus friendly service and expert advice to help you choose exactly what your garden needs this spring. Visit your nearest Chamberlain from 13 August to 13 September. Stop and smell the flowers, all 6 of them. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
Peregrine Capital presents Brian Habana's Count to 100.
In my journey to 100, it started with my first cap, then my second, 10th, 50th, 90th, 99th.
Brian Habana, his 100th international test. You get to 100 one decision at a time. For 28 years, Peregrine Capital has applied that same discipline to turn 1 million Rand into 100 million. Peregrine Capital. Invest in performance. An authorized FSP. Past performance non-indicative of future performance. T's and C's apply.
You made your mark on election day. But what happens after the votes are counted? This week, catch the Clement Manyatela Show in conversation with the South African Local Government Association on 702. Tune in as we unpack how local democracy works, what you can expect from your ward councillor, and how every resident can play a meaningful role in shaping their community. Democracy lives here. Make your voice count beyond the ballot box. The Clement Manyatela Show in conversation with Salga, inspiring service delivery this week on 702.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Welcome back to the show. Thabo Sholemashao in for John Perlman. You'd know that this is the fourth and final day of that SADC summit where the leaders of Southern Africa have come together, and President Cyril Ramaphosa was chairing the 46th Ordinary Summit of the Southern African Development Community, heads of state and government. And the president, in his speech, mentioned a number of things, but also of importance in the agenda. The South African element thereof insisted on having the issue of migration on the agenda. They also wanted to discuss why people leave their countries. It's not only about migration, but it should include a number of issues. Borders, of course, are very interesting because those are points of commonality. But the person who has a hawk's eye on this is EWN reporter Thabiso Koba, who joins us right now on the line. Thabiso, thanks for joining us. Good afternoon. Hope you're good.
Good afternoon, Saba. Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Germain issues that came up, migration ought to be one of them. And is South Africa caught napping on this one?
100%. It was an issue that came up. But it wasn't an issue that was necessarily on the SADC agenda. It was just something that was brought up by the president, but also circumstances, the recent circumstances that we are well too familiar. As we are talking right now, I'm walking back to the summit because I just came from this March and March protest, which was happening just on the sidelines of the SADC summit. But we did have an opportunity to speak to the Minister of International Relations, Mr. Ronald Lamola, who also echoed one of the things that the president was saying that if SADC is going to have a conversation about migration, then it has to be a holistic conversation, not just looking at what's only happening in South Africa, but also looking at those factors that contribute to people wanting to come to South Africa, contributing to why there are no jobs in some of these SADC countries, but also speaking about how these SADC countries can work together to create jobs, but also ensuring that the travel within the SADC countries does happen in a lawful, legal way. You'll understand that, Thabo, there is this migration protocol that has been long-standing for a number of years now by SADC countries. This protocol, there's a couple of few SADC countries who do not want to sign the free movement protocol. And this free movement protocol is basically a framework of how movement within the SADC region could be better managed. This is something that Ronald Lamola about Pretoria, in essence, saying that during its chairship of the SADC, it is going to try and push at ensuring that that free movement immigration protocol is signed and ratified so that the movement between SADC countries is done in a much more lawful way, but also in a much more controlled way.
Is this a toothless entity, SADC, that is? Because a lot of people would say and criticize it fairly or unfairly that every time these leaders meet, it's just talk, great on print, but very little action is taken.
I think one of the disappointments for me, Thabo, is that with every SADC summit and with every SADC event, you basically hear the same talking points, right? The same talking points about increasing that intertrade between SADC countries, removing those barriers, cutting the red tape, but also more importantly, the beneficiation of its critical minerals, always complaining about the fact that a lot of the minerals from SADC countries are exported without any beneficiation being done, and saying that they want to create a situation where the minerals that are extracted from SADC are actually beneficiated, and when they're exported, then exported as market-ready finished products rather than in the current term where a lot of the critical minerals are exported in its raw form and then sold back to SADC regions in the same manner in a finished product, which then obviously undercuts the same countries where these minerals are coming from. This is an issue that has been long-standing with every SADC summit and with every SADC event. And I think one of the disappointments today is that we didn't hear what are those innovative, actionable plans that some of these SADC leaders are going to be putting into place to ensure that these beneficiation happens, and to ensure that intertrade between the SADC countries does actually take place. South Africa has set itself a very ambitious target that by the end of its chairship, it wants that intertrade between SADC countries to grow from 20% to 50%, and we'll just have to wait and see, Thabo, what exactly those ideas will be put forward by Pretoria to actually ensure that those plans do get put into action.
President Ramaphosa is assuming the chairmanship of the bloc until next year, August, obviously. Is there any significance to this, or is it just really him being the first among his peers?
I think the significance, obviously, is that the chairmanship does come with some sort of political capital. And you do understand the fact that South Africa, we talked about the immigration protocol, that South Africa has been trying to push to have that immigration protocol being signed. So you have to wonder how much leverage South Africa having the chairmanship is going to have in getting those protocols signed. But also, one of the things that South Africa has talked about is increasing trade. And we know that South Africa, especially in the SADC region, South Africa does remain the economic powerhouse within the SADC region. So with South Africa also having the chairmanship, it's also going to be interesting to see how South Africa leverages that to meet some of its political and, diplomatic goals.
Has it been somehow cringeworthy for South Africa, especially given what has been happening on the migration side of things? Not to make things easy, much, where you have just covered their protest. Are they also adding insult to the injury, or was it well expected and the leaders of SADC are taking it in their stride?
I think one of the interesting things, Thabo, was covering the March in March, is that not a lot of the international media that is currently present at the SADC summit did come out and broadcast some of the images that were happening. We know that we've published some of it on our Twitter pages, where there was a bit of shoving between some demonstrators and some police, because some demonstrators actually wanted to go into the ICC where the SADC summit is being held. But obviously there was a lot of police presence, so that didn't happen. But we know that the President Cyril Ramaphosa, he did address this issue, telling the SADC leaders that what has happened in South Africa, the treatment of foreign nationals, has been shameful, and that South Africa is ashamed of what has happened. But also in private and also in public, the conversations that are being happening by South African delegations to the SADC delegations is that South Africa is ensuring the people of the SADC saying that what has happened is part of a minority group,
Yes.
a very influential but minority group, and this is not government policy. And that has been the message that South Africa has been pushing both publicly and also privately in some of the conversations that are happening here.
He's with EWN. His name is Thabiso Goba. Exactly 3:30. Well, just a little bit after 3:30. Apologies for that, Mbali. Welcome. What's the latest on EWN headlines?
Thanks, Tabo. Good afternoon. Well, we begin with news just in. The state's request to reopen its case against the man accused of starting the deadly Usindiso fire in 2023 has been granted. Prosecutors turned to the court today following a directive to address discrepancies in evidence about the identities of some of the 76 people who were killed in that blaze. Initially, Mdlalose had confessed to starting the blaze, saying he was trying to burn the body of a man he had killed. He later retracted his confession, saying he was forced into making it. Judge Kasim Musa has ruled that reopening the state's case is in the interest of justice.
It is the considered view of this court that if this application were not to succeed, it would be a travesty of justice, not only to both the parties, but to the victims as well as their relatives, the surviving relatives. And at the end of the day, as was stated in the case of R versus Hepworth, this is simply not a game.
The alleged fixer of suspected underworld gang boss Nafeez Modak claims he was assaulted by an anti-gang unit officer at the Paulsmoor prison. Ziad Pool told the Western Cape High Court today he was attacked in prison just last week. Pool, Modak and 13 others are on trial facing allegations of allegedly running a criminal enterprise. Carlo Peterson reports.
Ziad Pool's lawyer, Advocate Bash Sibda, says his client informed him that he was assaulted by an anti-gang unit member while he was being searched on his return from court to Paulsmoor prison on Thursday last week. Sibda adds his client was reportedly prevented from raising the issue with prison officials.
He says that he tried to make a charge at the prison, that he was stopped from it, and he was taken to the doctor that same day.
Presiding Judge Robert Henny advised Sibda to obtain all the details and report the alleged incident to the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
The Hawks have rearrested a suspect facing charges related to the illegal possession of an AK-47 in Mannenberg. Ignatius Bierkes failed to appear at the Athlone Magistrates Court in June after he was apprehended in October. During his initial arrest, officers were executing a search and seizure warrant at his residence in Mannenberg. This is where they recovered an assault rifle without a serial number and with one magazine. Hawks spokesperson Siyabulela Vukubi.
Lucas made an appearance in the Athlone Magistrates Court and was granted bail to the amount of 500 rands. The accused has since failed to present himself in court on the 9th of June 2026, which resulted in the warrant of arrest being issued.
And in India, at least 15 people have died in two separate incidents during a religious ceremony. A fire at a hotel in West Bengal state killed 8 people, while 7 others were killed in a stampede in Shiva temple. The victims of the hotel blaze had travelled to offer prayers on the final Monday of Shravan, a sacred month dedicated that attracts huge crowds of worshippers. The cause of the fire was not immediately known, while in Bihar, 7 pilgrims were crushed to death and 19 others injured when a stampede broke out at a temple. In your weather for today, it's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 23 degrees.
Cleveland heading towards Germiston. Accident scene M2 westbound near Cleveland Road causing heavy delays all the way from George Koch. And in Devlin heading in and out of Eldorado Park, expect some delays on the Golden Highway between Union and East Street.
The top story in EWN, the state's request to reopen its case against the man accused of starting the deadly Usindiso building fire in 2023 has been granted.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What is the situation with these backlogs?
The problem is really the concoction of different issues in different areas. And it's not to be interpreted as a crisis. We are dealing with a backlog that is coming from the week of cold snap across the country.
What is it about the cold that makes city power struggle?
With electricity infrastructure, the longer it remains off, the more the problems are when it comes back on.
Isaac Mankena.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Corporates that care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring PPS. The Group Executive, Mutuality, Ayanda Siboni, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Uncertainty is rising, but your business still has to deliver. Production targets need to be met. And when your workforce is out of balance, the cost is immediate. Too many employees, costs climb. Too few, productivity drops. Workforce staffing helps businesses stay in control with flexible workforce solutions, deployed within 48 hours nationwide. When demand changes, your workforce can change with it. Visit workforcestaffing.co.za. Stay productive, stay flexible, stay in control.
At Avis Car Sales, we sell cars. All cars. Compact cars, mommy cars, double cabs, 4x2s, 4x4s, minivans, drop tops, luxury sedans. When we say we sell cars, we sell cars. In Croydon, Kempton Park, Rivonia, and Centurion, we sell cars. For over 40 years, inspected and serviced before they reach our floor and backed by the manufacturer's warranty. Finance? Yes. Trade-ins? Yeah boy, yes. Check us out at aviscarsales.co.za.
AI global markets and trillion-dollar companies. The headlines move fast, but what do they really mean for investors and everyday South Africans? This Wednesday, catch 702 Drive with John Perlman in conversation with 91 as we unpack the trends shaping markets, investments, and the future of the global economy. Discover what's driving today's biggest investment conversations. That's 702 Drive with me, Thabo, standing in for John Perlman, in conversation with 91 this Wednesday on 702.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Good day, Thabo. Good day, 702 lenders. Thabo, considering that Ket Matlala is a very key person in this matter and investigation, NPA would have done us a great deal by striking a good deal with Ket Matlala, in as much as they were able to let go of Michael. He went scot-free when he turned state witness, and he wasn't charged with any imprisonment. Can you imagine if Ket Matlala was given the same treatment and afforded the opportunity to turn a state witness and divulge information that's very key, that we could actually investigate these officials that are rogue and looted state funds and probably are still doing.
Hey, afternoon, Thabo. O'Brien Fostoras. Tibos, the issue of the SADC, that meeting, there's nothing that will really come out positive out of this, because I think number one on the agenda, the issue of Nagangwa extending his presidency, I don't know, from 5 to 7 years, that was supposed to be number one on the agenda. And to see that we have something to prove when Tibos, look at what the foreign internationals are doing. The two two Congolese and one Zimbabweans. Do you think they can do this at Mnangagwa and Chisakedi? It tells us that when these guys are here, they are not well behaved. We mustn't hide from that. I like to also applaud March and March for going and march there to raise these issues. Someone like Mnangagwa was not even supposed to be invited because of what is done to the country by extending his term of presidency. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're raising very interesting points there, especially regards to the SADC meeting. As we all know that they are meeting currently, and President Ramaphosa will assume chairmanship of that entity called SADC. A lot of people are saying that they just a lot of bark but no bite. And you can understand why. The examples that you are citing, especially on the Zimbabwean president altering the constitution to allow him to extend his term of office. A number of issues that have been taking place in the SADC region. They meet as just buddies, chummies, shake hands, drink champagne, and nothing really happens. When I say nothing, of course I'm being metaphoric. Of course there could be some things that are pointed to. But on a very significant note, we are seeing less and less and less. To what extent are they holding each other to account as peers, as leaders in this very critical economic region of the continent? Are they able to say, bro, we don't like what you are doing, and as a result, you're not going to attend with us up until you've sorted your house out, because it affects all of us. That's a SADC meeting underway, with President Cyril Ramaphosa to assume chairmanship of SADC up until August next year. 19 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
The latest in the sporting world, Tholakele Mganga will give us the very... Tholakele, I'm just wondering if all of us are still excited for Cameroon. Are we supposed to be excited? Is it a victory well-deserved? 3 goals, of course. That's just an amazing sweep at Malawi. But are we getting the enough excitement as we ought to?
I think it's difficult when your national team struggles to get excited for other people's national teams, but it's always an honor to win a title, and congratulations to Cameroon. But Thabo, we do start with some rugby. That's where Springbok captain Siya Kolisi and prop Oxenchair will be given every chance to prove their fitness ahead of the first rugby's greatest rivalry test match. That one's against New Zealand on Saturday. Kolisi suffered a hamstring strain against Argentina 2 Saturdays ago, while Nchair came off with a knee injury in the opening Nations Championship test against England. As for the showdown against the All Blacks, coach Rassie Erasmus has discussed what to expect.
We think there's a certain way how you win World Cups, and we think that's a grind. We think when you're under pressure on your attack, it's very tough to keep cohesion if the pressure is very big and you start fumbling a few balls, and then you must stuck to your guns. And we try to find the balance between that, and when games are really clutch and crunch, that you have a system that you can fall back onto, which protected the player sometimes from not always having the confidence to do things. But since Tony's been with us, we feel we were attacking it right. We feel we're doing not too badly.
Defending Bedway Premiership champions Orlando Pirates are in a 3-way tie with Kaizer Chiefs and AmaZulu at the top of the log after 3 round of league games. The Buccaneers were 3-0 winners over Chipa United. Usutu claimed a 2-0 win over Swelele, while the Glamour Boys were pegged back by Mamelodi Sundowns as they played out a 1-0 draw. Fernando de Cruz believes that result shows that his side have some way to go in competing for honours with the Brazilians.
We want to compare Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs. For the moment, we cannot compare because from one side you have Sundowns with players who play together since 6 or 7 years, and us, we just arrived since 1 month and a half. So let us time and we will improve step by step. We make a good start in PSL, but we need to stay calm and quiet because we need to work again a lot in our offensive parts.
Mikel Arteta was happy that his Arsenal players maintained their high standards as they ran out 3-0 winners over Manchester City in the Community Shield. The win for the Gunners gave them their 2nd trophy in 4 months and their 18th Community Shield title overall.
I think it's down to the preparation that we've done in pre-season, to the decisions that the boys have taken after the World Cup, to continue to get prepared, to come early because they wanted to be part of this and they really wanted to win the competition because it's something that we earned last year, the chance to play against City here. Very impressed in the manner that we play, especially in the manner that we competed. So that's the standard for us, and if we drive the standards at this level, I'm sure that we're going to be really, really competitive.
And Cameroon claimed a maiden Women's Africa Cup of Nations title following a comfortable 3-0 final victory over tournament debutants Malawi. The indomitable Lionesses' success comes despite them originally missing out on qualification. That's for this edition of WAFCON, having lost 3-1 on aggregate to Algeria in their 2nd round tie. However, they were handed a lifeline when CAF expanded the finals from 12 to 16 teams, and they progressed by the strength of their ranking. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
If you're traveling on the roads and worried about traffic, worry no more. Karabo Charlie will give you the very latest and tell you which routes to avoid. Mr. Charlie, how does it look today?
Well, at this stage, if you're heading towards Brakpan, leaving Germiston, there's roadworks causing delays. This is on the N17 eastbound between Osborne and Rondebold. In Cleveland, heading towards Germiston, that's leaving the Joburg CBD. There's an accident scene M2 westbound near Cleveland Road, causing heavy delays all the way from George Koch. In Devland, traveling into Eldorado Park, expect some delays on the Golden Highway between Union and East Street. Look out for those faulty traffic lights. That's in the Edenvale area at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck. Traffic lights still not working in Marlborough at Marlborough Drive and Old Pretoria Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 Podcast.
On primemediaplus.com.
15 minutes to 4 o'clock. Welcome back. John is not here. My name is Thabo Shole Mashao, and I'm with you till 6 p.m. Great having you with us. Earlier on, I was asking about Lady Luck. Have you had one of those days where you felt like, man, nothing is going right? You wish you'd just go back home and drown under your pillow because everything else that you touch is just not going okay. The world has turned against you. Lady Luck is not smiling. She's definitely screaming at you, and nothing is going right. Have you had one of those, Tolayele?
When nothing is going right?
Yeah.
Every other day.
I saw it can be.
Sometimes you just really have those days where like the only good thing is that you're back home.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of the sort of person where I'm like, I constantly have to remind myself that I can't let like one thing that goes wrong impact the rest of my day, because I know I easily spiral. I had one of those days on Friday where I even had to say to myself, girl, bring yourself towards yourself.
Really?
Just because this last hour has been a horrible hour doesn't mean everything else around it kind of get impacted, but not sustained, but every few minutes.
But have you had that? I mean, on that day, everything else that you touched was just going wrong. Let me just give you an example with mine. The year is 2000 and... Why do you go like that? Why guys, you must see Talagel. Are you on YouTube?
Like you even remember the
are
year.
You on YouTube? Please get onto YouTube. Get onto YouTube right now and watch the show from YouTube. On one end, Karabo Charlie is changing wardrobe with every other traffic bulletin. Kamo, it's you giving us dramatic sighs. Anyway, I think the year was 2001 or 2, somewhere around there. I'm a young, handsome, healthy, bright
Is
young
this in your
man.
imagination?
Oh, wow. Can I just finish my story? The commentary will follow. But nonetheless, cutting the long story short, we used to love attending those concerts. Boys to Men would come through, what's his name, Brian McKnight and whatever else. On that particular day, it was Mary J. Blige, Casey and Jojo, and I don't know who else. We're young. I didn't have a car then. I think I was 19 years old or so. And a friend of mine, together with our girlfriends, would decide, hey, man, we must go to Ellis Park Stadium and have a good time. It would start, obviously, late in the evening. Firstly, we leave Soweto at about, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, and we get ready. The guy who's supposed to drive us there starts a huge fight with us. He wants more money or he's not moving. The ladies are waiting outside the car and we feel so embarrassed. He wants more money and we don't have money because we're young stars. We get into a fight with him. We scream at each other. Then he drives off. We must then look for another transport means to get to Ellis Park. We get to Ellis Park. The concert is not that good. They give us terrible seats. We are at the grandstands far away from where the action is going. And we want to, tell someone, protest for the tickets that we bought. Nothing is going right. Afterwards, it's at about 1 o'clock in the morning now. We don't have transport going back home. We are stranded outside. Everyone else is moving. To make matters worse, my friend, Tsepang, he gets mugged. And as I'm on the phone, about 20 meters away from him, I look on. He's standing with the 2 ladies. Of course, one, my girlfriend then, and then his. And then he's getting mugged. The guys are grabbing him. And then I'm thinking, should I go? Should I not go there? Should I?
So what did you do?
You ran.
No. I'm going to ask him to call. I didn't. Listen.
What did you do? You still haven't told us what you did.
No, I then went and I pretended I didn't know what was going on. So I went there and said, guys, what's going on here? What's going on? And the guy then turned on me to now focus attention to grab my phone.
Are you and Tepang still friends?
Up to now. I saw him yesterday.
I'm so sorry. I'm getting mugged.
No, I went to him to try to save him. I went to him. Then they turned on me. They tried to grab my phone, but I was still young and fit, which is what you laughed at. Then I fled like Usain Bolt.
What about the other people?
I left them there, Baba. What was I supposed to do?
I believe most of the story. I believe the part that you ran, but the part that you went to go figure out.
Sibulai, you must call, bro. 072-702-1702. Sibulai must call and save me here. It was Molly, myself, and who else was there?
You know,
no, they must call and save me.
Tabo, when you're telling the story, you know when your transport didn't work out.
Yeah.
Did you not read that as a sign? This is gonna be a bad night.
I suppose it was an omen of sorts. So please tell us about your worst day when Lady Luck did not smile on you. 072-702-1702.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
E-hailing services have been under such scrutiny of late, and it's been just negative news. A number of e-hailing services have been experiencing being robbed. The drivers have been robbed, some have been hijacked, others are beaten up, and whilst some are not even paid for their services. And it seems like this spat is growing and growing and growing. So we've decided to invite Melithemba Mnguni, who is the Secretary General of E-Hailing Partners Council. Melithemba, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tabo. Good afternoon to the listeners, and thank you for the opportunity.
Are these robberies just getting a huge spotlight on social media, or are they generally on an increase? Are your members reporting more and more about these, or are we only waking up to them because of social media?
It's because of the dash cameras that are becoming popular. The robberies, like we always say, that these are on daily basis. And I wouldn't really say they are increasing because they've been constant for a long time. And we've been hoping now that a lot of people are moving to dash cameras, that they will subsidize and go down. But seemingly that's how present these guys are. I was just watching this one where they robbed the lady. They could see the camera, and he was actually insulting the camera. So it's really getting out of hand.
What, in your view, has exacerbated these? What, in your view, has made these occurrences so blatant? Is it just, as you said, how brazen the thieves have become? What is it? Are the drivers sitting ducks? Are they vulnerable? Are they easy targets?
They are easy targets. And then, like you said, they are indeed vulnerable. The thing is that with e-hailing is that you get to request the driver to come to a place where you believe it's comfortable for you to rob them, and you are able to do it without being disturbed, and you get away with it. So it has always become easy with e-hailing, and the biggest issue has always been to say the criminals are able to infiltrate the platforms where they sign up, masquerade as passengers. And when they do so, that's when they are now able to request for a ride, only to commit a robbery or hijacking. So what has happened is that now that there is dash cams, these incidents are being caught on cameras. So hence I said earlier that we had believed that they would die down because of the popularity of dash cameras. But it seems like they're like, we're not going to stop because of them, or we're going to continue with these dash cameras.
What sort of support are you getting from companies, different, and I don't want to mention those companies, but are you getting sufficient support to ensure the safety of drivers?
Unfortunately, no support. We actually had fought where we had said that they should be able to compensate for drivers when they are robbed during trips and they are injured and so forth. At some point, they had agreed. They have since taken away the medical covers that they had agreed to put. So right now, when you lose your phone, it's on you. You lose whatever possessions when you get injured. They don't intervene, and that's been one of the issues why they do not care to have the security measures. I must say it with exception to Uber,
sure.
Because these are more popular on InDrive and then on Bolt.
Yeah.
But you won't see much of them on Uber because Uber takes that a measure of verifying
Sure.
each and every rider that comes on the platform.
Melitemba, just 1 second. I don't want to interrupt you, but allow me to take a quick call and then I'll come back to you. Kutlwano, you are in North Riding. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my question is, being an being an e-hailing user myself, you have to get onto the app and then sign up and obviously verify that you are who you are, and then you pay using your card or any of that stuff. So the people that are doing exactly the same thing and then going to request to rob an e-hailing driver, how does that work? That's my question.
Yeah. Melitemba? The profiles are supposed they are there. If I request now from Sentin going home, it would have all my details, that Thabo Shola Mashao, blah, blah, blah. I assume also an ID number I registered many years ago. But are they not able to track through the profiles?
Yes, like I said, on the Uber platforms, that's why a lot of criminals, they wouldn't commit that crime because they know that there is that verification. But you don't get the same on the other platforms. You are able to just go in, just put in Thabo without putting any other details for yourself.
I see.
And yes, so whenever you commit a crime, you are not traced back to Thabo. But the other thing is that the law enforcement do not have a link to platforms such as InDrive. We don't know where they operate from. They are not accountable to anyone and so forth. So
Melitemba, I have about 20 seconds. Allow me, sorry to interrupt you again, but allow me to squeeze this question in. Are you not able to get some self-defense classes from the company to request companies to at least arm you with some defense mechanisms of sorts?
Look, that's what we always try to do. But what we always advocate for is preventative measures, where what we are saying about Uber should be a standard across the platforms.
We sadly have to leave it at that. Melitemba Mnguni is Secretary General of E-Hailing Partners Council. 2 minutes to 4 o'clock.
Experience the race day rush with Hollywood Bets and JetX. Activate aviation adrenaline for a chance to win one of 2 once-in-a-lifetime ultimate Abu Dhabi Grand Prix experiences and your share of 1 million rand in cash. Ready to go full throttle? Bet 10 rand or more on JetX and you could jet off to the United Arab Emirates. Competition runs 10 August to 30 September 2026. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Smart business moves save money. Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's Stephen from the Villa Rosa.
I was with my previous insurer for 8 years and then I switched to Outsurance Business Insurance. I'm very happy with the premiums and switching was the best decision we ever made.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 600 60000. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
702. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Hello, good afternoon. Your question this afternoon, when Lady Luck turned her back on someone. No, for me, I just would like to get some more details and closure about Uncle Charles' story, arriving at work soaking wet. So if you can just come back and tell us how it all played out. Did you go to the bathroom to wring out your jeans? Did you sit on your desk there to do your show with your clothes still dripping wet? Come on. Just give us some more details. It's seriously fun and hilarious, eh? Nice show, Tabo. Titus, top and 10.
Exactly 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
The state to reopen its Usindiso building fire case and Kat Matlala to return to the Madlanga Commission only next week. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The state's request to reopen its case against the man accused of starting the deadly Usindiso building fire in 2023 has been granted. Prosecutors submitted the application following a directive to address discrepancies in evidence about the identities of some of the 76 people killed in the blaze. Initially, Thembiso Mdlalosa confessed to starting the fire, saying he was trying to burn the body of a man he had killed. He later retracted his confession, saying he was forced into making it. Judge Kasim Musa has ruled that reopening the state's case is in the interest of justice.
It is the considered view of this court that if this application were not to succeed, it would be a travesty of justice, not only to both the parties, but to the victims as well as their relatives, the surviving relatives. And at the end of the day, as was stated in the case of R versus Hepworth, this is simply not a game.
The testimony of alleged crime boss Vusumuzi Kat Matlala at the Madlanga Commission has been postponed to next week, Monday and Tuesday. This will allow his legal team to prepare a supplementary affidavit. During proceedings today, Matlala refused to answer most questions posed to him, citing concerns over self-incrimination with his tender fraud trial pending. But he confirmed that he personally knew 3 businessmen who've been linked to criminal syndicates in Gauteng, including late taxi boss Jotham Msibi. Karinda Jakmahan reports.
Testimony throughout the commission has pointed to the late Jotham Msibi, known as King Mswazi, as being the alleged leader of the so-called Big Five cartel. Matlala provided a security detail for him.
But one of my companies, Cat VIP, previously provided security services to the late Jotham Msibi.
Another apparent feared businessman, Steve Motsomi, loaned Matlala 5 million rand in 2024.
I called him and I asked for money.
Matlala also conceded he knew Hangwani Maumela, who's been linked to an alleged cartel which operated within the Gauteng Health Department.
He was the director of my company, and then the other thing is makers also which are under investigation by the SIU.
Matlala's testimony has concluded for now while he prepares a supplementary affidavit to answer questions about his tender fraud case. Karinda Jagmahan, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Members of Parliament's ad hoc committee probing allegations of police corruption have not agreed on whether or not suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu was influenced by external forces. The committee has been considering more party submissions today. These include how much Mchunu was allegedly influenced in his decision to order the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team in 2024. Members are also not agreeing that the minister on special leave instructed his chief of staff to secretly record a conversation with KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Babalondenze reports.
The committee today continued its consideration of its latest draft report, which has seen several amendments and submissions from political parties. Today's evidence focused on Minister Senzo Mchunu and what should be included in the report about his decision to disband the PKTT. MK Party MP and committee member Vusi Shongwe submitted that the report should make it clear that Mchunu was influenced.
It's clear that it says external forces like the Haas and Mokotsi, and it is supported by the annexures that Honorable Mchunu submitted
But ANC Chief Whip Mdumiseni Nduli objected to the assertion.
Because it's a very strong assertion that he has been influenced.
Nduli says Mkhunu, in his consideration, looked at different interventions coming from interested parties, as well as reports from his own department. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says countries in the SADC region cannot achieve their full economic potential without beneficiation of their own mineral resources. Ramaphosa addressed the ordinary summit of the Southern African Development Community in Durban today. From today, South Africa will be the new chairperson of SADC. Pretoria has now set itself a target of increasing intra-trade between SADC countries from the current 20% to 50%. Ramaphosa says that cannot be done if countries in the region continue to export raw materials without processing them first.
Every raw material exported without beneficiation represents value that has left our shores. Every product imported that could competitively be manufactured here represents jobs that could have been created in our communities.
And Malaysia Airlines says it will extend mandatory drug screening to more than 2,800 cabin crew after all pilots tested negative for illicit substances following the arrest of a pilot in Indonesia. The move comes after a Malaysian Airlines pilot tested positive for a cocktail of narcotics and was arrested last month. The 39-year-old was also allegedly attempting to smuggle more than 70,000 ecstasy tablets in a suitcase. The detained pilot faces the death penalty if convicted in Indonesia. Results of his urine test came back positive for meth, MDMA, as well as cocaine. Gold is trading at $4,202.82 an ounce. The rand is at 16.20 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 18.78 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $89.15 a barrel.
Germiston heading towards Brakpan roadwork still causing delays on the N17 eastbound between Osborne and Rondebolt Road, while in Lone Hill, faulty traffic lights at Main and Lone Hill Boulevard causing heavy delays. Devland also expects some delays on the Golden Highway between Union and East Street.
In your sport, the Springbok team announcement is delayed to give Siya Kolisi and Oxen Chair time to prove their fitness ahead of the first test. Soweto Giants and Amazulu in a three-way tie at the top of the Betway Premiership standings. And Cameroon make the most of their second chance as they win WAFCON for the first time.
It's a fine Tuesday that's in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg will drop to overnight lows of 5 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 7 and 29, and Vereeniging 4 and a high of 26 degrees. The top story in EWN, the state's request to reopen its case against the man accused of starting the deadly Usindiso fire in 2023 has been granted.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. 702. Live on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Eight minutes after 4 o'clock. Welcome back. John is not here. My name is Thabo Mashao. You're on 702. Happy to have you with us. If you've just joined us, welcome. Where have you been? Work, I suppose, right? And now you are driving home or just taking a bit of a breather. Stay with us all the way till 6 o'clock. We have so much more for you. We'll be speaking to journalist and Fort Galata's son, Lukhanyo Galata. And this is on the backdrop of that very important story that the Daily Maverick did. And I think it was Marian Tam who penned it. She was explaining that 48 hours leading to 1994 elections, April 27, the cabinet of FW de Klerk sat, and de Klerk with his cabinet confirmed to all of them at the time as they were about to exit government that Nelson Mandela together with the ANC had agreed to give indemnity to the perpetrators of violence during apartheid. And this was a big relief, I suppose, for those of them who were gathered at that time. You'd remember Some people have said that Nelson Mandela sold out, ANC sold out. There are minutes now that have been declassified of that very important meeting. The Daily Maverick has covered the story thoroughly. You can just go to the website and see it. But we're interested to hear from Lukhanyo Galata, his thoughts about this. I mean, he has been at pains to explain that the cases have not received the sense of urgency that they deserve, the Credit 4 case that is. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free at any point to send us a voice note on any issue that we might have raised on 072 702 1702. Alternatively, call us on 011 883 0702, 10 after 4.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Good day, Tabo and the 702 lenders. You know, when the President, Mr. Ramaphosa's response to anti-migration marches in South Africa, when he said that he was ashamed, well, it goes to show that the SADC is useless. They don't hold one another accountable. He was supposed to tell his counterparts that we know that when it comes to migration, there's a push and pull factor. So the majority of people that are leaving their countries and flocking to South Africa is because of the push factor. They're not leaving because they want to. They are leaving because of the hardship in their country that are caused by bad leadership. Thank you.
One thing we must all realize, just realize that Cyril Ramaphosa has his own issues to deal with. There's upcoming local government elections and the Matlanga Commission going on, exposing the rotters within the ANC. Ngunu is still in office. For now, everyone knows about these things. Everyone in the SADC region knows about these things. Now, for Cyril to go and point out other leaders' flaws like Mnangagwa, who's just obviously just bending the rules to suit his things, it's going to be very difficult. It's like the cat calling the pot calling the kettle black. I think all these guys should just go and start afresh. SADC committee, whatever they want to call it, it's just a dress up. It's just a dress up. Nothing really happens there.
011-883-0702, and that's what you had to say on those voice notes. It is 12 after 4.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 rands. What I will ask you, Garabo Charlie, the roads, how do they look?
Well, at this stage in Ekurhuleni, this is leaving Germiston heading towards Brakpan roadworks, causing heavy delays on the N17 eastbound between Osborne and Rondebold, while in Lone Hill, faulty traffic lights at the Main Road and Lone Hill Boulevard causing heavy delays this afternoon. In Kempton Park, driving into the Joburg CBD, there's a bumper-to-bumper traffic M1 southbound from Killarney Bends to the double-decker section, while in Devland, this is driving through Eldorado Park. Expect some delays on the Golden Highway between Union and East Street. In Protea Glen, still in Soweto, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R559 main road between Orange Street and GOG Gardens. That's approaching Wild Chestnut. It looks like traffic lights are not working there. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen can't help you pack your suitcase, but they can get the traffic flowing smoothly so you get to the airport on time for your flight. The Outsurance pointsmen are real heroes in green and purple, easing traffic congestion and making our lives easier for almost 21 years. Just another way you always get something out, in proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer in FSP.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Well, you would know that, as I said, that the minutes have been declassified, where de Klerk was sharing with his cabinet that the ANC-led delegation, and Nelson Mandela was the leader thereof, that they had agreed to give indemnity to the perpetrators of apartheid. Lukhanyo Galata is joining us right now for that conversation. Lukhanyo, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for having me.
Do you feel a sense of relief, especially after the declassification of these minutes? Do you feel vindicated?
No, I don't feel vindicated at all. I think, look, just because I've known that these things had taken place doesn't mean that I now need to, you know what I mean, have a sense of vindication. Remember, all that I've ever wanted, or all that we've ever wanted as a family, as the family Yagafort Khalata, the families of the Kredok Four, and I think the extended families that we, you know, are now currently before the Kampembe Commission, all we've ever wanted was for truth, was for justice, and was for closure and healing. Right? Sure. The fact that there's now information that the whole world finally can get to share and understand is obviously, I mean, it's great, but it still moves us a step closer to truth. But ultimately, we still want to see all of those others, such as justice, closure, and healing.
And rightly so. You can't gloat and say, I told you so, I told you so. But is there some sense of relief that perhaps this is what has been stalling the entire process? There was an agreement in writing about all of this, and people may have denied it, perhaps for aesthetics, public aesthetics, politically, yes. But the truth is now out that there might have been a deliberate act of dragging things out.
No, not might. There was a deliberate act of dragging things out. Thabo, can I just make a quick example? Sure. So what happened is the CODESA negotiations in 1992 had basically ground to a halt, right? What happened in that process? There was then a leak of a military signal to General Bantu Olomisa. And this military signal, Olomisa took this signal to Mandela, right? And what the signal said ultimately was the ANC was able to use this signal as proof, ultimately, that the apartheid government had set up hit squads that were basically murdering people, because this is the military signal that called for the permanent removal of my father, Fort Khalata, Matthew Goniwe, and Umbulelo Goniwe. That happened in 1992. De Klerk, based on that evidence, de Klerk as the president then goes and he sets up the second inquest into the murders of the Kredok Four, right? Now, that second inquest was ready quite early on, probably sometime around March or something in 94. But the judge postponed his judgment, right? And then the elections then took place on the 27th of April. And then on the 10th of May, the president, Nelson Mandela, was then inaugurated. And then on the 28th of May, Judge Neville Zitzman then delivers the judgment in the second inquest into the murders of the Kredok Four. Do you see? I want you to paint the timeline. Sure. Now, on the 25th of April, 2 days before the elections, de Klerk then tells his cabinet that, hey, guys, it seems that Mr. Nelson Mandela and the ANC leadership have now agreed to a general indemnity of all politically related crimes and murders, right? Which means that between the time that Mandela takes this military signal to de Klerk, right, as evidence of what the apartheid government was doing, right? Between that time and the 25th of April in 1994, there were discussions that took place. Now, what were those discussions? What did the ANC agree to? We know now, right? We know now that the ANC had agreed to a general indemnity of apartheid or politically motivated killings. Against whom? Politically motivated killings against black bodies. Committed by whom? Committed by apartheid generals and the ranks of the apartheid government. Do you now, right? So this is the picture here. Yeah. So what did we then expect, right, from Thabo Mbeki, from Jacob Zuma, from their administrations? Because there was already an agreement that was made. Now, a couple of years ago, Thabo, I think it could have been in 2021, F.W. de Klerk had already released a statement. He was responding to something that I had written. He released a statement where he said that if there's going to be prosecution of TRC-related cases, the ANC must remember the deal that was made. I spoke about this in 2021 already, based on a statement that was issued by the F.W. de Klerk Foundation, where they were confirming a deal. Now, I understand South Africans are caught up by Madlanga, but the real substance is what Justice Sisi Khampepe is busy doing with, because now our countries can see of the deals that were made prior to the establishment of our democracy, that we were sold out even before we knew we were sold out.
One can't help but wonder what other deals are there. But if we were to confine ourselves,
my friend,
and economically and otherwise.
Exactly. I was just about to say to you, how do you become a billionaire if you've never once set up a company?
Very difficult to do so. But then, Lucanio, does it mean that perhaps it makes sense that Eugene de Kock, Prime Evil, then subsumed most of the responsibility, even though he was acting not alone but in concert, and there were many others who were who did more than he did, and perhaps he was a sacrificial lamb in this, who's now being rewarded handsomely for that.
That's why Eugene de Kock is so angry, Tabo. That is why he is so angry. Earlier this year, Eugene was testifying in the inquest of the Craddock 4, and he was speaking. He was speaking, and the lawyers, particularly those for the former police and the generals, they kept on interrupting him, and there was a moment during his testimony where he got so angry, and then he said to them, "Hey, let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth about what happened here," right? So because Eugene understands he was the sacrificial lamb, he was the one that had to go and sit for, yes, rightly so, for the crimes that he had committed, but it seems that he eventually sat in prison for the crimes that were committed by others as well, right? And that is why today Eugene de Kock is so angry, because he was betrayed by his own people that he thought would look after him and would take responsibility for the crimes that they had committed. But we're dealing with cowards here on both sides, because if the ANC was not cowardice, they would have prosecuted my father's killers.
Sure. Tell me, and the Khampepe Commission, is it bringing that process closer and closer? Do you feel that through the hearings and the commission itself, that day is coming and coming very fast?
Yes, my friend, you and I are able to talk today about evidence that has been presented that shows without a shadow of a doubt, right, of the deals that were made in back rooms between the African National Congress and the National Party and apartheid generals. We are able to have this conversation because of the work that the Khampepe Commission has done. Now, we've had to work for almost a decade to get to the point where we had a president ultimately sign off on a commission of inquiry to investigate why our fathers' killers were never prosecuted for the crimes that they committed against our humanity. The Khampepe Commission is doing work. It's like, as they would say, it's doing the Lord's work, right?
Sure.
It's doing the Lord's work. My only thing is that it seems to be overshadowed by the Madlanga Commission, right? And obviously everybody is focused on the work of the Madlanga Commission. But the real substance, the real substantive work about our country, the formation of our democracy, on what our democracy is built with, right? So can I just make this one point?
Go ahead.
Some of the issues that the Madlanga Commission is now dealing with, right, and that the Commission is exposing, if the African National Congress had held people accountable, had held those army generals accountable, had held those that were leading the South African police under apartheid, if those people had been prosecuted, we probably would not have been seeing some of the rot that the Madlanga is exposing right now. Because do you see what I mean? Because the foundations that would have been put in place would have been the proper foundations upon which we could build the kind of democracy and the kind of society for which my father and so many others died for.
And the implications are that if that deal was struck, and it was, as we now know, based on the minutes, simply means that among us, as we shop at Woolies, as we walk around the streets of Sandton and elsewhere, we are walking around with individuals who are dripping blood on their hands from killing individuals, and they are still not held accountable. It's all and forgotten kiss and makeup for them, and the blood of the innocent are still dripping in their hands as they shake our hands and ask us to forgive and forget.
Yes, my brother. Can I make you an example? In the year 2000, I was studying in Port Elizabeth, now Gqeberha. I remember going to a shopping mall, Green Acres, I think it was called, in that shop. And at the time, I was about 18, 19 years old. I looked very much like my father died when he was killed when he was 28. So I was about 10 years younger than what he was at the time. And I looked like him. And I remember in the shopping center, there was a white man that followed me around the shopping center, and he looked at me. You know what I mean? To the point where I became very uncomfortable as to who is this guy. Now, I was already uncomfortable being in Port Elizabeth because of, my father had gone there and he never returned home. So I was already uncomfortable studying in that place. But this one particular day, this guy is following me around in the shopping center. And I don't know who he was, but I became very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we can connect the dots from there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sadly, I have to leave it at that, Lukhanyo, but we'll keep the story going. Really appreciate your time. Lukhanyo Galata, journalist and for Galata's son. You'd remember he's been very vocal about the Craddock 4, 26 minutes after 4 o'clock.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
EWN Business.
With Stephen Grootes, who looks today like a corporate captain. Get up in a beautiful suit and ready to give you the latest in the world of money, finance, and everything else.
My dress is just outside. My valet. You know how JSE people are, Tabo.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Yeah, not a terrible day for the JSE, but really driven by resources. So up 0.45%. That's the all share, 114,573 points. Resources are up 2.76. Industrials are down 0.93. Financials are down 0.26% at the moment. Some interesting stories, of course, doing the rounds. So what we're seeing particularly is that the resource shares are doing much better. Thungela is up 11% on the day. And Thungela saying earlier that higher coal prices have pushed Thungela Resources to increase their headline earnings. They jumped by around 150%. Coal prices were up 20%. The stronger rand did affect their revenue. They made a net profit of 1.4 billion rand. Their export saleable production for the 6 months was up 6%. Export sales were up 12%. You sell more, the price is higher, you're going to do better. I think also if you go through their statement, they're so committed to the long-term future of coal, which I realize is very interesting and quite controversial, and there are various court cases, but Thungela up 11% on the day. The other big story of the day, of course, is what's been happening at SPAR. So the resignation today of their chair, Michael Bosman, and the deputy chair, Shirley Zinn, they say, for reasons that are independent of each other. Well, they sort of said the decisions were taken independently. However, there is a report in News 24 Business this afternoon suggesting that, in fact, both felt that they'd come under personal attack from the retailers, from the franchisers who own SPAR outlets. So obviously there's a lot to this story. Bosman had also previously been the executive chair. So a couple of years ago, he'd had to run it because the CEO had resigned. And then back in May, when that group of franchise holders said they believed he needed to go, the board backed him. Now he's going.
Oh.
So very interesting. Spar obviously losing market share to ShopRite. Major logistical problems in KwaZulu-Natal. There was that terrible software upgrade. Cost them hundreds of millions of rand in lost sales. They overspent on Black Friday promotions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been mess after disaster after chaos.
Stephen, what does it say, about the confidence of, especially of shareholders and everyone else in SPAR when the chair and the vice chair are deciding to exit at the same time?
So it also comes after other turbulence, and that's really the bad thing, is that, it's one thing to have one person go, but when you have a group go and over a long period. On the other hand, you can always see it as the sort of end of an era and maybe things will turn around. It will depend on who takes over. I mean, there's a relatively new CEO there, seems very committed to it. I mean, if something happened to happen to them, that would be disastrous. I don't for a second think that it will. SPAR down, by the way, 4.3%. That share price has taken a hammering over the last couple of years. So that's really SPAR a big story. And then the minerals shares up. So Implats is up 4.2, Goldfields 4.2, Northam nearly 4, Anglo Gold up 3, etc., etc., etc. The Chini Group down nearly 4%, and Mr. Price down 3.72. So a tough day for some of the consumer shares. Woolworths also down 1.5%, while Telkom is down 2.57%, and MTN is down 1.95%. RCL Foods. Now, I don't know if you have posh pets. There's some animals that won't eat the cat food or the dog food, right? So RCL, which, produces all kinds of foods, has had a major problem with their pet food, okay? And their volumes in pet food are down over 20% because of that problem.
What?
Now, I know two cats in particular that are very fussy, that will be very interested for the first time in their lives in a SENS statement. But RCL Foods reporting it expects its headline earnings for the year to the end of June to be down by around 30%. That to impair goodwill in brands in the Sunshare unit because of a labor disruption at their family. They've lost earnings from their sugar unit as well because of high volumes of imports, they say. So a tough period for RCL Foods. In the US, things are a bit sort of subdued at the open, slightly higher oil prices. Dow Jones down 0.17, Nasdaq up 0.02, the S&P 500 down 0.13% so far. Looking at the gold price, $4,405.28. That's slightly up. Platinum, $1,768. Brent crude, also slightly up, I'm afraid, $88.83. The rand to the dollar, though, quite strong. 16.18 to the euro, 18.77 to the British pound, 21.95. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
And time for Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali standing by to give us the very latest. Hi, Mbali.
Thanks, Tabo. A very good afternoon. While the legal team of alleged crime boss Vusumuzi Matlala is expected to submit a supplementary affidavit to the Madlanga Commission. This will contain more details on his response to allegations against him. Matlala appeared before the commission today, testifying about allegations that he tried to infiltrate law enforcement agencies. But Matlala refused to answer questions linked to his tender fraud trial, raising concerns about self-incrimination. When asked about his 2025 meeting with General Ntantla Mkhwanazi, his alleged donation of imbalas to Shadrack Sibiya, and his loan from Suleiman Karim, he refused to answer.
The loan agreement referred to herein is part of an ongoing criminal matter, and as such, I'm unable to respond to the question posed on the paragraph under reply. I'm of the view that I may incriminate myself by answering questions related to this loan agreement, as I believe it forms part of the Medicaid criminal matter which is pending before court.
The Madlanga Commission has postponed Matlala's testimony until next week. Police Oversight and Community Safety MEC Andrew Murray has welcomed the arrest of a police officer and 3 other people allegedly linked to an extortion ring in Cape Town. Somali and Ethiopian businesses were allegedly targeted in the Stellenbosch area. The police's Novela Potelwa says they were apprehended in Bellville last night.
The suspects, including a police official and a Somalian businessman, are alleged to have extorted money from over 50 businesses in the Stellenbosch area. With the project investigation gaining momentum, more arrests are expected in due course.
Murray says the arrests send an important message that extortion will not be tolerated.
Extortion is not simply a crime against an individual business owner. It undermines local economies, threatens livelihoods, creates fear in communities, and provides fertile ground for organized criminal networks to expand.
And in India, at least 15 people have died in two separate incidents during a religious ceremony. A fire at a hotel in West Bengal state killed 8 people, while 7 others were killed in a stampede at a Shiva temple in Bihar. The victims of the hotel blaze had travelled to offer prayers on the final day of a sacred month that attracts huge crowds of worshippers. In Bihar, 7 pilgrims were crushed to death and 19 others injured when a stampede broke out at a temple. That stampede was triggered after rumours spread that an electric pole had fallen on devotees inside the temple premises. A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 4 and 5 degrees and highs of between 26 and 29.
Germiston roadworks causing heavy delays. You can expect about a 20-minute delay on the N17 eastbound between Wits Rifles and Rondebolt. Still in Ekurhuleni heading into Germiston, there's about a 30-minute delay in Edenville N3 southbound from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren. It looks like there's an accident scene there. And in Lone Hill, faulty traffic lights at Main Road and Lone Hill Boulevard causing heavy delays this afternoon.
The top story in EWN, the legal team of alleged crime boss Vusimuzikat Matlala is expected to submit a supplementary affidavit to the Madlanga Commission.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Former taxi driver who chauffeured himself to millions and counting. He was plucked from obscurity and became a driver to a young Julius Malema and never looked back. Meet Debadi Collins Foromo. News 24 is reporting that his company, TTTB Supplying and Construction, has pocketed a cool 339 million rand from the city of Ekurhuleni in the last 10 years. Who was paid? What were they paid for, and what did the city of Ekurhuleni get in return?
The city of Ekurhuleni has these tenders where informal settlements, where there is no sanitation infrastructure. You will see those blue and red plastic toilets. So it hires companies to supply these toilets. This company, TTTB, is one of 15 that won a slice of that tender.
You and I are in the media, my friend. We should have thought about the poo-poo business, hey? There's more money to be made there. Sikonati Manjanja.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis presents the School of AI, the first of its kind in Africa, powered by 100 world-class AI experts delivering cutting-edge training, consulting, and real-world AI solutions. Regenesis has embedded compulsory AI modules across all their programs and 12 of their schools. From business and law to education and technology, join the movement now. Enroll at regenesis.net. Regenesis, one institution leading the way.
The Hollywood Bets exclusive Spinner Zonke prize drops gives you the chance to win your share of 2.5 million rand in cash and prizes. Bet 2 rand or more on selected pragmatic play slots every Monday, Tuesday and Thursday from 12:30 to 10:30 p.m. Make every drop count to catch the perfect prize. Join this spinning spectacular now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
There's so much health information out there, but how do you know what to trust? Catch the Clement Manyatela show tomorrow from 9 a.m. for Health Matters by Cipla Africa, where we'll be unpacking important health conversations designed to help you better understand your body and well-being. Health Matters by Cipla Africa is a trusted hub bringing you expert-led health conversations you can trust. Then head to the Prime Media Plus app or primemediaplus.com, scroll to Prime Media Highlights and watch the latest Health Matters video featuring leading experts and thought-provoking conversations, or WhatsApp the word health 072-702-1702, and we will send you the link to the content.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, Tabo, and your team there, man. Stemba from Rustenburg. I'm a bit worried. I didn't follow the news, but I understand there is like a Zimbabwean and a Congolese who are arrested probably for protesting there at the SADC summit. But I hear South Africans blaming, why are they protesting? Why are they doing so? Because they are not they are like demonstrating against South Africa as such, but they just want to bring the attention of immigration issues to the leaders who are there at the summit. It's not necessary that they are disrespecting South African laws. I think people should not view it that way. Thanks, man.
Hi, Tabo. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense that those leaders who negotiated at the end of apartheid, yes, it was a difficult time, but they didn't negotiate in the interest of the people, because people lost their family members, people lost their lives, only for our leadership to say, no, you'll be shielded from prosecution. What is that? And it is just one more thing that shows that this leadership, the current leadership and the previous, they never cared about the people. How do you let people die and you go on and you live this lavish life and you continue to push the rest of the people of the country into poverty, deepening poverty for the last 30 years? ANC never cared about the people, Shim.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it does make sense, as much as a lot of people suspected that these dealings were happening in smoky rooms of cigars and whiskey. But now the minutes are declassified, in case you're wondering what are we speaking about. If you just go to the Daily Maverick, you'll come across a story penned by Marian Tam, and it is about how 48 hours leading to the 1994 27 April elections, de Klerk confirmed to his cabinet, as it was sitting for the very last time, that Nelson Mandela, together with the ANC, had agreed to give indemnity to the perpetrators of apartheid as part of a transitional mechanism to usher us into a peaceful South Africa. And the question remains, what other deals were made? When other documents are declassified? If they will be at all, then we'll get to know the truth about a lot of things. 19 minutes to 5 o'clock.
EWN Sport.
Speaking of truth, Tholakele Mganga makes sure that you get the very latest factual results and fixtures about everything in the sporting world. Tholakele, hi.
Hi, Tabo. Well, the All Blacks have lost a fourth player during their South Africa tour, with prop Ollie Norris departing for New Zealand with a knee injury that will keep him sidelined for 6 weeks. Norris won't be immediately replaced as he follows midfielder Billy Proctor, winger Caleb Clark and hooker George Bell, who've all already returned home. And ahead of Saturday's first test of rugby's greatest rivalry series against the Springboks, Dave Rennie has provided an injury update on other key personnel.
Yeah, both Will and Cam got through a bit of training yesterday, and we're pretty confident they're going to be right by next week. Like both of them, we want to have a full week of training. Yeah, they're certainly ticking enough boxes. So, and Damien's the other one who we're probably less confident about Damien, but still think he's a good chance to play on the weekend. So we'll get a little bit into him tomorrow. Hopefully he can train well on Tuesday. Yeah, the expectation is that all three of those guys will be available.
Abdeslam Wadou has heaped praise on Orlando Pirates' Durban-based fans for the support shown to striker Yanela Mbutuma during their 3-0 Betway Premiership win over Chipa United. Mbutuma has faced scrutiny from sections of the club's fans following missed opportunities in recent matches, but Wadou has come out to defend him as he insists the forward plays a vital role in his tactical plans.
This guy is doing well for the team. Of course, we were expecting this efficiency in the last third, but we cannot kill a fantastic player with a lot of hope, a lot of future for Pirate, because the guy is in a moment that is a bit difficult for him. We have to support him, and really, I thanks from my deepest heart the fans of Durban, because the flowers that they sent him today, it's a very strong message.
Miguel Cardoso has called on his Mamelodi Sundowns players to start games better after they had to come from a goal down to salvage a point in their league draw against Kaizer Chiefs. The Brazilians are yet to keep a clean sheet this season and have conceded first in all three their encounters this campaign.
We show character to fight for results until the last minute, but we also should show character to fight for results since the first one. I don't like to win matches in the end. I prefer to win them in the beginning because that's when then manage contexts where the coaches can manage players, where coaches can even try tactical approaches and change and give time to others. So that's what is important. But I think today was also important not to lose the match.
And two-time Tour de France champion Johannes Vingegaard will not race again this season as he's still recovering from the broken collarbone he suffered at this year's race. The Dane has had a successful campaign up to his crash last month, which peaked with victory in the Giro d'Italia in May. His triumph in the Giro made him only the 8th rider in history to win all three Grand Slam tours, having added the Vuelta last year to his Tour de France victories from 2022 and 2023. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 rands. My ask to you, Karabo Chali. The roads, how do they look?
Well, at this stage in Ekurhuleni, Germiston, this is heading towards Brakpan roadworks, causing more than a 20-minute delay. N17 eastbound from Wits Rifles to Rondebolt Road. There's also about a 30-minute delay. That's leaving Alex heading into Alberton. This is in the Edenvale area. Expect about a 30-minute delay. N3 south from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren. It looks like there's an accident scene there. Lone Hill, faulty traffic lights at Main Road and Lone Hill Boulevard still causing delays this afternoon. Parktown driving into the Joburg CBD, heavy delays. M1 south from Killarney Bends to the double-decker section. Devland also expect some delays on the Golden Highway between Union and East Street. Proteas Lane, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R559 Main Road. This is between Orange Street and GOG Gardens, approaching Wild Chestnut. It looks like those traffic lights are still not working. And in Groenkloof, Pretoria, traffic pressure on George Storer Drive between Tutoy and the Fountain Circle. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Clever excuses for being late, number 94.
I ran out of petrol and had to push my car to the petrol station.
Fortunately, with the Outsurance pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer in the FSP.
702 Podcast
On PrimeMediaPlus.com.
13 minutes to 5 o'clock. John is not here. My name is Thabo Shola. I'm happy to be with you all the way till 6 o'clock. Great having you with us. And in the studio with me is none other than Karabo Charlie and Tolagele Mganga. And of course, Kabazele is also here with us. Jono, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Tubbs, and you?
Nah, taking it easy. I've brought you here because I wanted to ask the entire crew, Tolagele, Karabo, and everyone else included, especially our listeners. When you get into your car, what is consuming you? I hope it's 702, of course. When you're driving home, you're listening to 702. But when you get home, media-wise, what are you watching on TV? When you're holding your phone, which app is preoccupying your time? So generally the question is, media-wise, what is really taking much of your time? What are you consuming? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Which app are you using? And so, John, I thought you must kick it off because you have this way of bringing these weirdest things to us. And I wanted to find out from you, what's consuming your time?
I mean, this is a family radio station. Right? No, I'm joking. Look, I mean,
the last time I checked, yes.
I spend a lot of time on TikTok, so I'm always on TikTok.
Yeah.
But my missus has brought something to my attention, which she says is consuming her when she gets in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I even hear her when she's pulling into the driveway and the radio is blasting.
Yeah.
And then it'll be on her phone, and she's loving this song at the moment. It's called Sengitole Omunye by Chulumanco M, and it's a remix, and the single is by Feza.
Okay.
Yeah, have you heard this song yet?
Maybe let's play it.
This
maybe
song apparently is the shiz. Let's listen to the chorus.
So this is what's consuming the
Yes.
business time.
But now don't read too much.
Jonathan, what's happening here?
Don't read too much into this about my relationship.
Oh my
I don't know,
goodness
man.
me. Karamo was saying that you're going to have a Zulu wedding.
Maybe.
There's going to be a wedding.
But
I'm
we won't
not sure it's
play
going to
this.
be
I'm not sure there will be a wedding.
We won't be playing this at the wedding.
Oh, wait,
I
for
have-
the listeners. They
Yeah.
might not know Seng Tolomunye.
Yeah.
The person who's singing has found another person.
I have found another.
Oh my goodness me.
And I think it's about love. So
Yeah.
I found somebody who's shown me real love. They've brought
I'm praying that's
the
you
best
in this
love.
instance.
They've brought up to me.
In
your
this
love,
instance, I
your
praise
love
you.
was like it wasn't good enough. But this person,
And does she blast it when she gets home?
she blasts.
It's a message
I don't
to
know
you,
the
bro.
signs of it.
It's a
Hey,
message
the
to you,
signs of
bro.
it.
He's not getting it.
Does Prime Media offer counseling, guys? So that's a question to you on 0727021702. Tolagele, you? What's occupying your time?
I'm a 90s hip hop person,
Yeah.
and the only time I get to kind of vent out my frustrations is by listening to like Biggie Smalls, Tupac.
Oh, man.
So those are my
Proper.
songs like
Proper.
driving, and then when I get home, I tend to watch a lot of YouTube
Yeah.
vlogs because it's just a chance for me to have background noise while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
So that's also preoccupying me.
Sure.
And my current Netflix series, the series is old, but I'm watching it now. 4 seasons, season 2 of it. So I'm
Really?
this close to finishing it. Yeah.
Speaking of Netflix, this is what is consuming my time on Netflix. I love it to bits.
I am the king of dreams, ruler of the nightmare realm.
What are you doing here, Etty?
He's coming, isn't he? You. Morpheus. The Aneromancer. You know the Sandman.
He's a fairy story, Etty.
He's no fairy story. He's back.
Good to know.
Yeah, for me, that's it. It's called The Sandman, a beautiful American series. Stunning stuff. The Sandman. I've watched it a million times. It's just out of this world. So we wanted to find out from you, Karabo, you quickly.
So I'm starting this new hobby of growing mushrooms, oyster
Yeah.
mushrooms. So I'm watching a lot of YouTube clips on how to grow it, how to start and stuff like that. So I've been obsessed with that. How to start your shed because you need everything, the structure. And then the other one that annoys my partner, ChatGPT.
I'm with her. I'm so sorry.
It's my personal assistant. It's my therapist. It's my financial advisor. It's my researcher. Google has taken a
Does it do
backseat.
traffic for you?
No, it doesn't. When we're arguing about some fact, I always say, but ChatGPT says this.
So I'd love to hear from you. 072-702. What is consuming your time? 8 minutes to 5.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
The matter of sextortion, a number of people might have heard of it. Of course, it is colloquially called sextortion, derived from extortion. So in this instance, it would be blackmail, where some individual is blackmailing you, threatening to reveal the videos of you in compromising situations. And it could be that you're naked or intimate with someone, and therefore it's called sextortion. The public protector in South Africa is making a very serious call. Is saying, actually, if someone is accused of sextortion, they must be charged with corruption, because it comes with a higher sentence and penalty. So I'm interested in knowing from you if you agree with her on that issue. Rock Wilson is digital law expert and public speaker. Rock, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me here, Tabo.
Very important issue because often people are blackmailed and some have got compromising, excerpts on Twitter and everywhere else on social media. How serious is this issue of sextortion?
I mean, it's a massively serious issue. There's a reason that at least, the sextortion that you've described, when someone gets hold of your nude images, whether they be real or fake, use that in order to get one or other kind of benefit out of you. And that carries a penalty of a few 100,000 rand as a fine and up to 3 years in prison. But what our public protector was talking about is not actually this kind of sextortion that we're really used to in our modern world, which is the digital kind, where a scammer sends you an AI-generated photo of yourself and says they're going to send that to everyone you know, unless you pay them a portion of money. This is a different kind of sextortion that's actually been around for far, far longer. I mean, I think as long as humans have been around. And I'm surprised that the other one has taken the definition. So this kind of sextortion is the abuse of power sextortion, when someone who has got some kind of power over another person says, be that, a politician, a boss, anyone who says, hey, I can help you advance if you give me XYZ sexual favors.
Yeah.
That's what it's definitely something that needs to be considered, but I don't think our public protector was right when she said that they can already be captured under the current corruption legislation. We've got a lot of holes there that we do need to fill.
Yeah, and I would assume I suppose the intention behind it is to try to get proper penalties or sentencing behind it in order to deter individuals from using sex as a weapon of negotiation across a corporate table. Currently, what do we have and how can we strengthen it so that it's not just Tabo wanted this from me and it doesn't fly in court?
Yeah, so that's where it's really difficult, because while our public protector was right when she said that we can reach people for this kind of sexploitation, it's not as watertight as we'd want. So our corruption legislation was written back in 2004 when these kinds of matters weren't really at the forefront of our minds. And so there is no clear definition that really covers this kind of extortion, where someone is asked to give a sexual favor in order so that they can maybe go upwards in their job. There's even more insidious kinds. The UN has made reports on aid worker sexploitation, where aid workers in places like Malawi, following the recent hurricane in 2019, I believe, where aid workers were withholding aid in exchange for sex. So our sextortion, which deals with the digital world, doesn't cover this. And particularly, like I said, we don't necessarily define it by monetary values under our corruption legislation. We say gratification. But under the 11 or so definitions for gratification, none of them neatly capture sexual exploitation in this context. And what makes it even worse is that our legislation criminalizes both people, both the person that gave the corruption and the person that accepted the corruption. And in cases of sexual exploitation, victims will not be covered by any of the defenses, because the defenses are effectively, I said I was going to pay this bride or give this gratification, and I didn't. I was never intending on giving this this gratification or something similar, which is, again, I never ended up giving the gratification, which does not protect victims in this matter.
Yeah. So also difficult to prove, because these things are not written down. They are not sent via emails. Of course, there'd be a WhatsApp message suggestive here and there, but just generally in a court of law where evidence matters, it's a mountain to climb.
Exactly. The evidentiary matter is strict enough as it is for general sexual exploitation cases. But then on top of that, we've got the fact that these people hold positions of power. And then above that, look at how power is abused in South Africa. If we look at just how cheap it is to get a hit out on someone. So while I appreciate the comments of the public protector, I think we need bespoke legislation for this kind of thing. And we can't try to shoehorn it under existing legislation.
Yeah, I mean, so it means we have to carve its own legislation and do a bit of spade work around how victims can be protected and how perpetrators can be held to account.
Exactly, and this doesn't need to be the writing of an entirely new bill. This can be amendments to the current Corruption Act as it stands, saying that if someone tries to exploit someone and use their power to promise them a promotion or any other kind of gratification in exchange for a sexual favor, that the victim can come forward without this fear of recourse. And this isn't the only place it exists. I mean, with our standard cyber crimes law. If a child is sextorted, if a child sends a nude image to someone who then uses that against them, that child can also face prosecution because our law doesn't see the difference between the creation of child pornography, whether it's a victim or a criminal.
Rock,
and I think that's yes.
Apologies, we have to leave it at that because I've got news. But thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Rock Wilson, digital law expert and public speaker.
This is a message from Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some become bone marrow stem cell donors and give blood cancer patients a second chance at life. The South African Bone Marrow Registry needs you to help them make this a reality. I am a stem cell donor, and I ask you to sign up to be a stem cell donor today, or donate to the Patient Assistance Program. Visit sabmr.co.za to find out more.
Peregrine Capital presents Brian Habana's Count to 100.
In my journey to 100, it started with my first cap, then my second, 10th, 50th, 90th, 99th.
Brian Habana, his 100th international test. You get to 100 one decision at a time. For 28 years, Peregrine Capital has applied that same discipline to turn 1 million rand into 100 million. Peregrine Capital. Invest in performance. An authorized FSP. Past performance non-indicative of future performance. T's and C's apply.
The Festival of Motoring, powered by Westbank, returns to the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit from 28 to 30 August. Experience thrilling track drives, supercars, drifting, 4x4 adventures, and the very latest in automotive innovation. Book your tickets now on Howler. The Festival of Motoring, where legacy meets innovation.
This is EWN.
Kat Matlala claims his wife was assaulted by police and the state will reopen its Usindiso building fire case. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Alleged tender fraudster Vusimuzi Kat Matlala claims his wife Tsakane was assaulted by police during a 2024 raid at his home. This was revealed during Matlala's testimony before the Madlanga Commission earlier today. In December 2024, the Political Killings Task Team raided Matlala's Pretoria home as part of an investigation into the alleged kidnapping of his former business partner, Jerry Bushucha. Matlala says he was particularly disturbed by the way officers treated his wife during the operation. Alfara Mushwana reports.
Vusmuzi Kat Matlala says self-proclaimed political fixer Brown Mukhotsi offered to help him open a case against police officers who allegedly assaulted his wife Tsakani. He says Mukhotsi claimed to be from suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu's office and said he knew how to lodge a complaint against the men in blue. Matlala says he ultimately did not open the case but was unhappy that his wife was left bruised following the raid.
I'll say she was assaulted, but not. They were poking her with a rifle on her shoulder.
Yes.
So here she had bruises here.
Okay. In law, that would be an assault.
Yes.
Matlala will return to the commission on Monday next week. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The man accused of starting the deadly Usindiso building fire has clashed with his lawyer in court after judgment in the case was delayed. Sthembiso Mdlalose returned to the Johannesburg High Court sitting in Palm Ridge today, expecting to learn his fate. But that did not happen after the state applied to reopen its case over evidence related to the identities of some of the 76 people who were killed in that fire. Mdlalose is accused of starting the blaze in August of 2023, allegedly to cover up another murder at the hijacked inner city building. He faces 76 counts of murder as well as multiple counts of attempted murder. Nkosikhona Malingamnisi reports.
Sthembiso Mdlalose had a tense exchange with his lawyer, appearing unhappy with how the legal representative handled the state's application. Mdlalose made it clear he was in court to hear his fate, even rising from the dock and addressing the judge out of turn. His lawyer did not oppose the state's application, fueling Mdlalose's frustration. When the matter was postponed, Mdlalose stormed out of court. He later returned to question his lawyer, asking whether he was still representing his interests. The case returns on Wednesday when the state is expected to formally reopen its case. Eyewitness News in Palm Ridge.
Anti-illegal migration group March and March staged a demonstration in Durban today near the venue where the SADC summit is taking place. The group says the demonstration is targeted at some of the SADC leaders, which it blames for what it calls South Africa's illegal immigration crisis. Heads of state and senior government officials from 16 countries are gathered at the Nkosi Albert Luthuli Convention Centre for the 46th Ordinary Summit of the Southern African Development Community. Thabiso Goba reports.
The recent anti-illegal immigration protests in South Africa have been discussed at the SADC summits. Some countries say they were hurt with how their citizens are being treated in South Africa, while President Cyril Ramaphosa offered his apology, saying the SA government was ashamed of the recent events around the issue. However, March and March, the group behind the anti-illegal immigration demonstrations, says it's offering no apologies. About 200 of its members have been marching through the streets of Durban. Many are carrying placards written, "Come fetch your people," which the group says is a message to some SADC leaders whose citizens are currently in South Africa without proper papers. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And Malaysia Airlines says it will extend mandatory drug screening to more than 2,800 cabin crew members after all pilots tested negative for illicit substances. The move comes after a Malaysia Airlines pilot tested positive for a cocktail of narcotics and was arrested last month. The 39-year-old pilot was also allegedly attempting to smuggle more than 70,000 ecstasy tablets in his suitcase. The detained pilot faces the death penalty if convicted in Indonesia. Gold is trading at $4,406.51 an ounce. The rand is at 16.21 to the dollar, 21.98 to the pound, 18.78 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $89.15 a barrel.
Germiston roadworks causing about a 20-minute delay heading towards Brakpan. That's on the N17 eastbound between Wits Rifles and Rondebolt in Edenvale. Still in Ekurhuleni, expect about a 30-minute delay. N3 south from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren due to an earlier accident, and in four ways. Slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen Road and Broad Acres Drive.
In your sport, Matthew Carley to referee Springboks versus All Blacks opener at Ellis Park. Retired tennis star Roberto Bautista Agut scores on his football debut, and Jeffrey Toyana appointed Titans women's head coach.
A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 5 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 7 and 29, and Vereeniging a low of 4 and a high of 26 degrees. The top story in EWN: alleged tender fraudster Vusmuzi Kat Matlala claims his wife Tsakani was assaulted by police during a 2024 raid at his home.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Final hour of the show, 6 minutes after 5 o'clock. Welcome. John Perlman is not here. My name is Thabo Sholem. I'm in his stead. It's great having you with us. We have a few minutes to go, so let's make the best of it. If you've just joined us, welcome. We've been waiting for you specifically to dish out the very best that we have in this hour. And if you've been with us from 3 o'clock, don't go anywhere. Stay right where you are. In a short while, we'll speak to Alpha Ramushwana of EWN to give us a zoom into Kat Matlala's testimony at Madlanga Commission today. You would know that they will return next week again with his testimony. Madlanga being very, very clear that there should be no slippages as far as submission of necessary documentation is concerned. So we look forward to that one. Alpha will join us shortly. And we also intend looking at what is the city of Johannesburg owed by national departments on the show. Stick around, and I've asked you for your voice notes. You've sent some through on 072 702 1702. And they had to do with whatever is consuming your time, be it in your car, at home, at work, or anywhere else in between.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, 702 family. I am with Garabo on the chat GBT. You know, the other day I even posted on my WhatsApp status to say, who the hell is chat GBT? Because I love it so much. I go to it for every single simple thing. I chat, I have conversations with it. I ask for advice from it. Oh my God, it's just so crazy. It's Pat from the East End.
Hi, Abutabo. It's Busiswe here from Roodepoort. So what's consuming my time? It's Duolingo. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, where I'm learning different languages. So far, I'm consumed by 3 languages, Italian, French, and texture. Just to show my learning, to say thank you in texture, tekusiler, to say thank you in French is merci, and to say thank you in Italian is grazia. So yeah, I think I'm learning something there.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Of course, in French, it's merci beaucoup. And so that you respond appropriately, if someone says merci beaucoup to you, share it from me first. French language expert, you need to respond with je vous en prie. Or if that's too difficult, you could just say Dorier. And I'll send an invoice through to you for that French lesson. 9 minutes after 5 o'clock. By the way, just so that you know, much later on that feature that you love so much about songs, your very first CD. 44 years ago, we were introduced to a compact disc that gave us beautiful memories and beautiful music. And I said my first to own, at least from my pocket, was this particular music.
Or is it just the lonely talking again? Are you really ready for love, boy? Or is it the lonely?
Oh, goodness me. I remember the CD was blue, so much later on, you could give us yours. Much later on, just after the news at Eyewitness News headlines at 5:30. 10 minutes after 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142. Now, you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 rands. This is what I'll ask you, Mr. Jali.
Yeah.
What do our roads look like at this hour?
So if you are leaving Germiston heading towards Brakpan roadworks causing more than a 20-minute delay, N17 eastbound from Wits Rifles to Rondebold Road. Edenville also traveling towards Alberton, expect about a 30-minute delay, N3 southbound from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren due to an earlier accident. While in four ways, slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen Road and Broad Acres Drive. In Lone Hill, faulty traffic lights at Main Road and Lone Hill Boulevard still causing heavy delays this afternoon. In Parktown, driving into the Joburg CBD, there's slow-moving traffic M1 southbound from Killarney Benz to the double-decker section. Devland, expect some delays on the Golden Highway between Union and East Street. Protea Glen, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic. R559 Main Road between Orange Street and the GOG Gardens. This is approaching Wild Chestnut. There's also slow-moving traffic in Groenkloof, Pretoria, on George Storer Drive between Dutoy and the Fountain Circle. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Deciding to not make a grocery shopping list may cost you an extra trip, but deciding to stay with your current car insurance could be costing you thousands of rands in savings a year. With Outsurance, 37-year-old Lerato saves a whopping 599 rands a month on her 2026 Kia Sonet. Switch to Outsurance. You too could be one quote away from having more money in your pocket every month. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
702 Podcast
on primemediaplus.com.
The day that we've been waiting for, at least as far as Madlanga Commission is concerned. Kat Matlala, Vusmusi Kat Matlala, has refused to answer on Medicare questions about Madlanga Commission. You'd remember that he invoked what he said was his right not to implicate or incriminate himself. Many people were glued glued to their television sets as Vusimusi Matlala asserted privilege over the 360 million rands Medicare contract and denied any connection with suspended Police Minister Senzo Mkhunu and Deputy Crime Intelligence Head Feroz Khan. Someone who's been following this very closely is your favorite. Alpha Ramushwana is here, EWN reporter. Alpha, thanks for joining us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Brati. It's always a pleasure.
Did it live up to the hype, Kat's testimony?
Not necessarily. I think it wasn't as exciting as one would have expected. But I think when he returns to the Matlaga Commission of Inquiry on Monday and Tuesday, that excitement that many were looking forward to will probably be experienced on those days. So what happened today is that Matlala merely read his very brief statement onto the record, and there was no cross-examination. And this is because Matlala's legal team argued that they were not given enough time to go through the 2,000 plus pages of evidence that were given to them at in the afternoon yesterday. So 2,000 pages is a lot, Barati, and you would need some time to go through those pages. And so they've been given the rest of this week to do so, go through the 2,000 plus pages of evidence and submit a supplementary statement. And so next week, Monday and Tuesday, he'll be back at the Matlaga Commission of Inquiry, and only then will the evidence leaders and the commissioners have the liberty and the freedom to ask any question that they would want and to cross-examine Matlala as well. So it wasn't that exciting today, but I suppose Monday and Tuesday is the big day.
Almost to the irritation of Advocate Sello, the evidence leader there, Alpha, you could almost think that Ket Matlala was trying to hide behind a broomstick as he said that he'll be incriminating himself, and his defense lawyer kept on also jumping in every now and then almost to protect him from answering even the most frivolous of questions. That irritation is not new in these hearings at all. Do you think that next week this is where he will be hiding as well?
Well, his legal team did say to the commission that they are going to give more detailed responses and detailed answers in the supplementary affidavit that they are going to submit to the commission. And so we do expect him to go into detail, much into detail, about some of the concerns that the commission has raised. I mean, most of the key questions that were asked to him today, he could not answer because he did not want to incriminate himself, which is a right that he does possess as a witness. And so that's the key concern that we saw today. I think questions about the 360 million rand police tender that was awarded to Medicare 24 Tshwane district, which is a company he owns, he didn't answer because of self-incrimination. The 10 million rand loan that was given to him by Suleiman Karim, he didn't want to go into detail with regards to that as well. And there are many other issues where he said he didn't want to incriminate himself at this stage. So there wasn't much that the Commission of Inquiry got today, but we are hoping that next week, Monday and Tuesday, he'll go into detail about most of these matters.
And quickly for the record, Alpha, Matlala is also charged with orchestrating the three failed hits between 2022 and January 2024, targeting, amongst others, Joe Sibanyoni, the taxi boss, the music producer, Sienki Mukubung, DJ Vetis, and Matlala's former partner as well, Tebogo Tobejane. Though all of that in the mix.
Well, yeah, you would know that he's still in court with regards to those alleged hits, and the case is still ongoing. And there's also another case within the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court with regards to the 360 million rand tender. And obviously, we would have wanted to know questions with regards to those two cases, but because those cases are still ongoing, he said he does not want to incriminate himself, and he would much rather have those cases be concluded in the courts, and then he'd be able to give the Matlaga Commission of Inquiry all the information that they need. But the commission doesn't have enough time. I mean, they have to submit their final and full report to the president on the 30th of November, meaning the 31st of October is the final day for public proceedings, and the entire month of November would be for compiling that report. So the commission doesn't necessarily have enough time for all these postponements, but according to Matlala, he wants to conclude those criminal cases first.
Notwithstanding, briefly, as we come to an end of this discussion, Alpha, notwithstanding what Matlala will say next week when he appears, do you believe that he's also, to a large extent, being made a sacrificial lamb and a face of corruption? And is it your belief that there might be some other bigger boys and girls up there who are pulling the strings and is thrown under the bus?
Well, I think the Matlala Commission of Inquiry is a fact-finding machine. And I think that's why it's so important for Vusumuzi Kat Matlala to testify in detail next week, Monday and Tuesday, because those are some of the answers that could be in his full and detailed testimony before the Matlala Commission of Inquiry. But it is not necessarily my view that he may be a puppet for certain people. I mean, we've heard a number of people who were in some way being used by Matlala himself for some sort of benefit. I mean, that's the big question, whether his relationship with Julius Mkwanazi from Eguruleni Metro Police resulted in any form of benefits for him. He did say that he got no financial benefits through that relationship, but the commission, of course, will try to establish whether his friendship with Julius Mkwanazi was meant for him to benefit in some way. So I think his testimony is going to be important because those answers would be derived from his testimony next week.
The always insightful Farah Mushwana, EWN reporter. 19 minutes after 5.
For more about 702,
go to primemediaplus.com.
702 indeed. Many national departments owe the city of Johannesburg a lot of money. And as we know that the city's coffers has come under serious scrutiny, attracting the ire in some instances of the Minister of Finance, Mr. Enoch Kotongwane, right at the top. Thus, we thought let us invite Julius Kleinhans, Executive Manager for Local Government with Outer, to just give us a bit of insight. And as we understand that Joburg is being squeezed on all sides by unpaid bills. Among them, the state itself, as the city confronts repaying its own debt. Municipal reports reveal which government departments and state-owned entities account for the biggest share of 1.44 billion rand owed for water, electricity, refuse, and rates. Mr. Kleinhans, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good afternoon.
Always a pleasure, Tabo. Thank you for having me.
This is a big bill, and it means that the city of Joburg needs to submit these invoices to various departments, including Department of Health, and we understand that they owe the city 136 million rands, Department of Human Settlement 56,000, and Department of Finance 35, not thousand, millions, by the way. I'm sorry, and ESCOM itself, 54 million rands. What are the implications of this? Does it mean that the city is bleeding dry because of debts that have not been recovered successfully?
Thanks, Abba. Yeah, isn't it extraordinary? It's such an irony. We've seen the Minister of Treasury recently saying that municipalities must pay the bulk suppliers, yet we find that national government also doesn't fit the bill. Look, I think in the greater scheme of things, 1.4 billion rand is a lot of money, and the city is cash-strapped, but it is really a small percentage of what is owed to it. And I think the consequence of its financial strait that it's in is not necessarily just focused on those who owe it money, but really about the money that it's losing with infrastructure deterioration and thus forth. But that said, I think who fits the bill at the end of the day, it's the people that suffer. It's not national government. And unfortunately, someone has to cover those expenses. And we see rates increases every year, tariff increases occurring every year, but it doesn't seem like anyone in the very government that's supposed to serve the people are being held to account, and they're not coming to the party and paying their bills. You know, a very interesting thing, the Municipal Financial Management Act, the very legislation that our government is supposed to execute, clearly states that government and provincial and national government, these spheres, must pay their bills to municipalities, and municipalities where government doesn't pay the bills need to escalate that towards the Minister of Treasury so they address that matter. And hopefully we see this from the minister currently, but we haven't seen it in the past.
Julius, I'm wondering to what extent can this be endemic to a point where it could be that At the helm of the city's leadership is one political party, and at the helm of the government of national unity at the very top is the same political party. Perhaps could this somehow be resolved in the party headquarters corridors? Is that what's causing the main delay?
Look, I think financial discipline and just professional government is really not something that's just going to be politically resolved. You need real leadership that wants to affect change. And unfortunately, historically, if we look at the trend, it's quite evident on where the problems have come from. But I think, just getting back to the city itself specifically, when you have debtors, there are specific measures you can take to ensure that the funds are paid. Unfortunately, we haven't seen any personal liability or accountability that's taking place in this. And that, again, takes political will. But we also must note that, if you speak about the Department of Education owing the city money, you're speaking about the Department of Health, these are hospitals and schools. So you cannot just go and cut the electricity. So I think what you're referring to is it's very important that the political heads hold their own to account. But they've been player and referee for far too long, and we haven't seen heads fall.
I'm worried because also you'd remember when he was mayor, Herman Mashaba confronted many national departments to pay their debts. And his calls fell on deaf ears, so much that he was almost ignored and told that he doesn't understand how government operates, as he ought not to go public about these things. And he needs to bring it to an appropriate forum in order to recover what is owed to the city successfully. There seems to be no will at all to do the right thing as far as paying the city back from national departments.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the minister does. We've seen that he's withheld the equitable share, but it was only temporarily. We don't know whether that was just a politically motivated strategy or if he's serious about the work that he's doing. We have seen some good things happening in the past. But you're right, political will can affect change that we need to see. We also know that political has led to the deterioration that we witness today. And I think that's really what we grappling with now is when it comes to a municipality and service delivery, there's no political ideology that comes to it. It's very basic. Provide the services and make it sustainable, because all of us depend on that. And that's where economies grow and develop from. If they fail in doing that, we see how people lose jobs and businesses close down, and that's what we're witnessing today.
Why should Mr. Dlamini in Alexander and Mrs. Groenewald in Roodepoort bother to pay when national departments do not necessarily prioritize paying the city, and the city's efforts to recover their money from residents, and they are not equally active when they ought to be recovering from national departments? Does that somehow pour cold water on the efforts to recover from ordinary residents of the city?
No doubt. I think people are frustrated. That doesn't mean that it justifies us not paying. I think, sometimes we need to step up and be better examples than the leaders that we have. And we cannot follow the failing leaders that we're seeing at the moment. And I think that's why it's so important also that everyone applies their minds to the local elections that's coming up. If there was any time that people had the opportunity to change the future, it is there, and I think that's where we need to exercise our rights, but not paying has severe consequences. It means that we kill the lifeblood to the municipality for any recovery in the future, and I think it's not a principle that South Africans agree with. We are frustrated, but we need to get better leaders. We deserve better leaders.
Julius Kleinhans is Executive Manager for Local Government with OUTA. I really appreciate your time. 27 after 5.
EWN Business.
With Stephen Protest looking debonair with his suit and a formal shirt and glasses to go with. Stephen, what's the latest?
Good afternoon. Adrian Gore in the Money Show studio this evening.
So, that's why.
Yeah.
That's the occasion.
One of the many reasons. Yes, so he is in the Money Show this evening. We will be talking to him, of course, about his new book, which is all about leadership. And if you consider his track record, he's one of those people you probably kind of want to look at and think, okay, we'll follow that. So we'll be talking about that tonight, just after around 7:15 or so this evening. Mandy Wiener's launching it on Wednesday. The Money Show is up 0.5% at 114,673 points. Financials down a third. Industrials down 0.83. Resources up 3% on the day. Two big stories today, really. The one is Tungela. They're up 10% on the day. The main reason for that is that the headline earnings jumped dramatically. Coal prices were 20% higher during the period. The stronger rand did affect their revenue. They were able to sell more coal by 6%. Export sales were up 12%, all going nicely for Tungela. Very long-term punt for coal as well in quite difficult times for coal and for all sorts of controversies and arguments around it. The other big story, of course, is around SPAR, down 4.6% on the day. The chair, Michael Bosman, and the deputy chair, Shirley Zinn, both resigning. That news becoming public this morning. They say they came to the decision independently of each other. Bosman had been the executive chair for a period, actually had to run the group. SPAR struggling lately, losing market share, all sorts of problems, logistical problems, IT problems all over the place. At the same time, though, he's been under intense pressure. There's a group of franchise holders in May. They said they wanted him to go. The board backed him. Now he's gone. Zinn and Bosman writing a statement, I presume a joint statement to News 24 Business today, saying they'd actually been threatened and that this is not what they want to do with their lives and sort of live in this particular way. So it's all going on there at SPAR. The platinum and gold shares up. Implat's up 5.5%, Pan African up 3.9%, Northern Goldfields, Harmony, all of them up by around 3%. The Foschini Group down 4.6%, Mr. Price down 4.5%, so those consumer shares are under pressure. At telecoms too, Telkom and MTN both down by around 2%. Oh, and Truworths, I should have mentioned, down 1.69%. And then RCL Foods, their headline earnings for the year to the end of June to be down by around 30% for various reasons, including big problems in their pet food business. Their volumes were down 20% there because of food safety problems. If you haven't been able to get a particular food for your posh pet, that in fact will be why. In the US, things have been a little bit slow, partly because of concerns around what's going to happen in the Middle East. In fact, the US President Donald Trump saying he used a particular phrase I'm not going to use because they're on cable and we're not, but he'll bomb the out of Oman if they get in the way. Oman is a US ally. So, yeah, the Dow Jones down 0.35, the Nasdaq up 0.16, the S&P 500 down 0.12 at the moment. The gold price, $4,418.39, platinum, $1,783.50, Brent crude, $88.64, the rand to the dollar, 16.18 to the euro, 18.74 to the British pound, 21.93. On the Money Show tonight, more, of course, about SPAR, and then the Business Day story today that the DA Federal Finance Chair, Mark Burke, his business, has basically been accused by the Reserve Bank of moving 4 billion rand offshore illegally. Yeah. What a story. Wow.
Huge.
I don't know where we're going with this or how this happened. The company is run by him and his brother Nicholas Burke. So there's a lot going on in this story. We'll talk about that. We will talk about over-the-counter derivative trading and obviously Adrian Gore this evening. And then in How I Make My Money, we'll speak to Mieleni Kholeni, who I know you've spoken to, about how you do it as a consultant, working specifically in the government space.
Wow.
Very interesting.
We can't wait for that. All that and more coming from Stephen, Mr. Scoop, your colleagues, Grotes, who will be with you between 6 and 8. 29 minutes to 6. With Mbali Dlamini. Mbali, we're a bit late. Apologies. What's the latest in Eyewitness News headlines? Good afternoon.
Thanks, Tabo. Good afternoon. Well, the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority has recalled some batches of the hypertension medication Enalapril 10 milligrams manufactured by Aria Pharma. Used to treat high blood pressure, the active ingredients in the pills were found to have levels below the required standard, rendering the drug ineffective. SAPRA's Roger Baloyi says affected batches include those manufactured between September and October of 2024. He has urged patients to check whether their medication may be amongst the affected batches.
Patient safety is always our priority at SAPRA. If you have an affected batch, speak to your doctor or pharmacist who will advise you on what to do next. Most importantly, do not stop taking your medicine without first getting medical advice.
The alleged fixer of suspected underworld gang boss Nafeez Modak claims he was assaulted by an anti-gang unit officer at the Pollsmoor prison. Ziad Pool told the Western Cape High Court today he was attacked in prison just last week. Pool, Modak and 13 others are on trial facing charges linked to allegedly running a criminal enterprise. Carlo Peterson has more.
Ziad Pool's lawyer, Advocate Bash Sibda, says his client informed him that he was assaulted by an anti-gang unit member while he was being searched on his return from court to Pollsmoor prison on Thursday last week. Sibda adds his client was reportedly prevented from raising the issue with prison officials.
He says that he tried to lay a charge at the prison, but he was stopped from it, and he was taken to the doctor that same day.
Presiding Judge Robert Henny advised Sibda to obtain all the details and report the alleged incident to the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
The Hawks have rearrested a suspect facing charges related to the illegal possession of an AK-47 in Manenberg. Ignatius Buurkes failed to appear in the Athlone Magistrates Court in June after he was apprehended in October. During his initial arrest, officers were executing a search and seizure warrant at his residence in Manenberg. This is where they recovered an assault rifle without a serial number. Hawks spokesperson Siyabulela Vukubi.
Buurkes made an appearance in the Athlone Magistrates Court and was granted bail to the amount of 500 rands. The accused has since failed to present himself in court on the 9th of June 2026, which resulted in the warrant of arrest being issued.
A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 4 and 5 degrees and highs of between 26 and 29.
Germiston heading towards Brakpan roadworks causing more than a 20-minute delay on the N17 eastbound from Wits Rifles to Rondebold, while in Edenvale there's also about a 30-minute delay. This is heading into Germiston on the N3 southbound between Marlborough Drive and Van Buren, and in four ways slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen Road and Broad Acres Drive.
The top story in EWN, the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority has recalled some batches of the hypertension medication enalapril 10 milligrams manufactured by Aria Pharma.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Does the healing depend also on the apology, for instance? Because there are sometimes people who say, the only way I'm going to heal is if my father says sorry. Is it dependent on that?
To some extent, even more difficult for people who don't even know their fathers. So how do I heal something that I don't even know? But sometimes when we get to hear the circumstances around their absence, sometimes
it helps
some women thinking that they are protecting their children. They may rather not introduce this child to this person. But this child then says, I can rather deal with the pain of knowing this is what he was or this is who he was than not.
Anele Siswana is a clinical psychologist.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Remember the first time your soul felt alive, or the last time music moved you so deeply you didn't want it to end? That feeling is calling you back. You are officially invited to come experience soulful performances from global icons. Kamasi Washington, Themba in Africa Mkhize, Nubia Garcia, Ibrahim Malouf, Judith Tsupuma, Angelique Kijo, Ndabo Zulu, Melanie Scholz, Floyd Tree, Thandi Swamazwai, and 40 world-class acts, 4 incredible stages on the Sandton Convention Center, 1 unforgettable experience at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, 25th to 26th September. This is Jazz Reignited. Get your weekend pass now via Ticketmaster.
Cutting costs means more money for your business. Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's Marshall from Bow Electrical.
I was with my other insurance for many years and then I switched to Outsurance Business Insurance. It was a one quick call. They gave me a great cover and a great price. Give them a call. You have nothing to lose. I wish I have switched sooner.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Just Anzalex it.
Do you have a sore throat? Anzalex C Oral Rinse and Spray provides targeted relief from 1 minute that lasts up to 4 hours. It reduces pain and inflammation while numbing the affected areas. It also kills viruses and bacteria that cause sore throats to help prevent serious throat infections. Andalex, South Africa's #1 choice for sore mouth and throats. For more information, speak to your healthcare professional.
Just Andalex it.
Andalex, a proud sponsor of The Masked Singer Season 3.
702. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
You need to ask the question to someone, I don't know who. It would seem the Madlanga Commission is quite efficient and effective in respect of getting the guilty charged and to court and to prison, which is fantastic to see. Why did that not happen with Zondo? Not one person there was charged and went to prison. It would seem that certain crimes are more, or certain people that commit crimes are more protected than others.
Yeah, a very, very valid question there if you were to do a comparative analysis. Zondo Commission, Madlanga Commission, chalk and cheese. I suppose that's where the voice note is going. We will ask those questions. Very interesting indeed. 22 minutes to 6 o'clock. You're on 702. This is the last lap. Welcome to it. Feel free to send your voice notes to 072 702 1702. Remember about the song. I did mention that 44 years ago in August 1982, the very first compact disc, commercial compact disc, was produced at Philips factory in Germany, jointly developed by Sony and Philips. And we got to hear beautiful music through CD players. Amazing sounds. I've told you what my very first CD was as far as I could, but I'm keen on getting your voice notes. Please send those voice notes through right away on 072 702 1702. What was your very, very, very first CD that you bought with your own money from your own pocket? 21 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
With Tholagele Mganga, the very latest in the sporting world. Hi again, Tholagele.
Thanks so much, Thabo. Matthew Carley, Nika Amushkeli and Agnes Gardner will referee the first 3 tests of rugby's greatest rivalry series, that one's between the Springboks and New Zealand. The first of those games will be on Saturday at Ellis Park, and SA Rugby Laws Advisor Yaku Beipa has shared what the players must expect from Carley.
They got these appointments based on experience and based on what they've done in the last 12 months. Incredibly strong characters. They not push around. So I think they get annoyed when we tell them how to referee the game because they've earned the right to be here and they know the game. What you know is, you're going to have a firm referee. You know you're going to have someone that deals with the breakdown, and you know that's someone that's going to deal with anything that is negative or cynical. He's very strong with those. He does not get influenced by a home and away.
Miguel Cardoso insists that Mamelodi Sundowns' leaky defence is not a cause for concern for him just yet. The Brazilians have conceded first in all 3 of their games this season, and their frailties were on display once again. That was in the 1-1 draw against Kaizer Chiefs on Saturday.
I think the team showed commitment. The team has, if you saw the games we suffered, today we stopped the set pieces, so some of those goals came from set pieces. On mistakes that we did, a team that doesn't usually suffer from set pieces. As I will always be happy if we score more one than the opponent. I will be much happier if we can score more than the opponent, but still have clean sheets. Of course, that's the stability the team needs to go, because we know also that there are competitions where we cannot suffer goals.
Abdeslam Wadu has called for consistency from his Orlando Pirates players as they return to winning ways with a 3-0 success over Chipa United. Just days before, Wadu had claimed that some of his players had not come back mentally from the World Cup. That's after they were held to a draw in midweek by Amazulu.
We are not too much focused on the opponent, even we study the opponent. It's important to give some input, some information to the players. But a club like Pirates should focus on how they want to play, how they want to imbalance that opponent, how they want to build, how they want to defend. And it's only our principles that drive us, that guide us to win games.
Just a month after retiring from tennis, Roberto Batista Agut has returned to competitive sport, this time on a football pitch. The former Wimbledon semi-finalist has signed for Spanish 7th-tier side CD Els Abaros and scored twice in a 4-2 win on his debut in a pre-season match. Batista Agut returns to football, having played for Villarreal's youth teams until the age of 14. That's before he opted to pursue a career in tennis. And in cricket, Jeffrey Toyana has been appointed Titan women's head coach ahead of the new season as he succeeds Pierre de Bruin. The appointment marks a homecoming for Toyana, who previously served as an assistant coach for the men's team from 2019 until 2023. That's before he went on to spend 3 seasons as head coach of Eastern's men. Tholagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
18 minutes to 6 o'clock. Mr. Charlie, how do the roads look?
Well, in Germiston, if you're still heading towards Brakpan, avoid the N17 eastbound roadwork, still causing more than a 20-minute delay between Wits Rifles and Rondebolt. In Lone Hill, faulty traffic lights causing some delays. This is approaching the intersection of Main Road and Lone Hill Boulevard. Parktown driving into the Joburg CBD. Traffic a bit sluggish. M1 South from Killarney Bains to the double-decker section. While in Devlin, expect some delays on the Golden Highway between Union and East Street. In Protea Glen, Soweto, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R559 Main Road between Orange Street and GOG Gardens. That's approaching Wild Chestnut Road. And in Groenkloof, Pretoria, traffic pressure on George Storer Drive between Dutoy and the Fountain Circle. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 Podcast
On PrimeMediaPlus.com.
Remember, I did ask you about our music feature, your song that you loved from that beautiful CD. And we are doing that because on this day, many, many years ago, 1982, Karabo was not there at that point, and many people were not around. Some of us were around, and the CD compact disc is celebrating 44 years of existence. I asked you earlier on, give us your favorite song, share your favorite song, and we'll play it here from your very first CD. Your very first one. What was your favorite song from that particular CD? I've told you what mine is and we'll play it shortly. I'm keen to hear from you on 072 702 1702. A nice thing about a CD is that you could just press one button to rewind as opposed to holding the button down on a cassette for eons, holding it for rewinding and rewinding and rewinding. You could just press one button and you could go back to that song and you'd play it over and over and over again. What was your favorite song from your very first CD? 072 702 1702. And mine, by the way, I almost forgot, mine. It was from Whitney Houston. And there was one song that I played over and over and over again. Karabo, I know that you would never ever know this song at all.
Let's hear it.
You would never guess what the song was. Okay, 2020. So now when I lots of guys, right? Well, I'd love to find out from you. This was my song, Whitney Houston, Longly Talking Again.
You and I, boy, and believe me, it's confusing me. I'm afraid to say let's make up and all's forgiven, but something tells me I'm headed for heartbreak. So darling, please, this time, yeah, this time will be different, and you and I can share this dream that I visualize. Tell me, are you really ready for love, or is it just
I had walked all the way to Brixton Mall just to get this CD. I walked straight into the record store, well, the CD store then, look and listen. Walked in and I think I paid about 20 rands. I looked for Whitney Houston's album. It was bluish outside and I think she's wearing a white vest. I opened the CD and there it was. Couldn't wait to get home to play the song. Longly Talking Again. What was yours? On 072 702 1702. 13 minutes to 6.
but all I got
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
From a psychology or grief perspective, should you be telling kids that you would assume, well, they're too young to understand, what can they do? Is it keeping their photographs? Is it still talking about them? What would you advise for kids that don't have the language?
Yes, I mean, babies are also, they will hold certain memories. It depends whether the grief was particularly traumatic or particularly sudden, whether they were witness to it. So even though a toddler or a baby can't speak, they were still present, they were still there, and they will feel it, and it can come out at different stages.
Tessa White, art therapist and a grief educator.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
The conversation doesn't stop when you get behind the wheel. With the Prime Media Plus app, you can now listen to 702 through Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, seamlessly integrated into your vehicle. No dropouts, no detours. Stay connected to the latest news, insightful conversations and voices you trust. All in crystal clear digital sound. Download the Prime Media Plus app today and take 702 wherever the road leads.
Ready to take your career to the next level and make a lasting impact? At the Wits School of Governance, you'll gain the knowledge and leadership skills to help shape better public policy, governance and development across Africa. Applications are now open for the 2027 intake, with postgraduate diplomas, Master of Management and PhD programs available, including flexible online study options. Apply today at wsg.ac.za. Wits School of Governance, Africa's leading school of governance.
Strong communities are built on a strong local government. Every day, municipalities work to deliver the essential services that improve lives and support thriving communities across South Africa. As the voice of local government, SALGA represents, supports and empowers municipalities to build capable institutions, promote good governance and advance effective service delivery. SALGA, inspiring service delivery.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Karabochali, you had my song from my
Yes.
favorites first CD. I'm keen to hear yours because Rian here on the WhatsApp line has given us his, and Rian says, I've lost Rian, and that was such a great one. But Suresh says, The Wait Before the Flood by Bob Dylan and the band. Tutu in Dobsonville says, Tabo Mine is Spark of High Boys by Traffic way back. And Michael Lens to Rock, There's No Excuse, My Friend. So what's yours?
Well, this album I bought for my sister for her birthday. It was in 2001, and it was also from a beautiful singer, TK. I don't know if you remember her. She passed on very early in her career. Tsakani, yes.
Yeah.
And like the whole album was just amazing.
Really?
Yeah. And so it was hard for me to tell Karabo which song
Yeah.
I want her to play. But hey, I Find It So Strange was one of my favorite.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's hear it out.
There are certain things I wish that you could see. Take your time to stop and look inside of me. I know we said take baby steps. We can't commit the circumstance, but love, you see, it comes eventually. I find it so strange that we must play all these games. Why don't you feel safe with me? I have to say, I find it so strange that we're causing all this pain. Don't run away from me. You and me together, it's incredible. 'Cause it feels so right having you here with me. Just take my hand, let's take this chance. We'll never ever you feel safe with me.
This song came out yesterday, bro. How old are you?
Yesterday?
Yeah,
No,
it was like yesterday.
2001.
Oh, that's like
I was
yesterday.
still in high school.
Ages
ago.
Ntwana, me like tea. Ntwana. 072-702-1702. Well, Rian, you said that your first CD, Thunderstruck by AC/DC, track was Thunderstruck. I'll go straight to your voice notes on 072-702-1702.
Hi Tabo, how are you? My very first CD, it wasn't actually bought with my own money, but my uncle bought me the CD. It was for my birthday. I think I was turning 15 at the time, but it was Jamali. I don't know if you remember those,
Yes.
Coca-Cola pop stars.
Yes, I do.
It was 3 girls. It was called Jamali. That was my very first CD. I really loved it. This is Kanya from Centurion.
My soul had been freed at night. Now it seems to have taken its flight. I am taken to my evening with the night star. I am taken for your lies and games. You played your part in the shadow no longer hide. So have my pride.
Jamali, remember them Coca-Cola pop stars? I do. I think they are doing something now. I think they were trying to do some anniversary thing. I saw it on the net. I wonder about you. 072-702-1702.
Oh, great show, man. My first CD, I think it was a Spanish Guitar by Tony Braxton. I think it was a single, actually, yeah. Spanish Guitar. Cheers, man.
A smoky room, a small cafe. They come to hear you play and drink and dance the night away. I sit out in the crowd and close my eyes to read your mind, but you don't know, you don't even know that I am there. I wish that I was in your arms like that Spanish guitar, and you would play me through the night till the dawn. I wish you'd hold me in your arms like that Spanish guitar.
Tony Braxton, Spanish Guitar, 072-702-1702. I'd love to hear from you. And the question that I asked was simply about your first CD, your favorite song from your first CD.
Hi, Tabo and the team. Lovely track there by Whitney. I love it to bits. 44 years of compact disc. Wow, CDs. My goodness. The first CD that I ever bought was in 1995, and that was Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise. And I went on to buy over 400 CDs, which I still have at home. Yeah. I think as a reminder, I'm going to play that Coolio CD when I get home. Thank you, Mohau from Mondio. Cheers. Lovely show as always. Bye.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lined in chalk. I really hate the trip, but I gotta low. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homies wanna be like, on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light.
Gangsta's Paradise, Coolio. We all remember this one. More voice notes, Karabo, 072-702-1702.
Good afternoon, 702. This is David from Pretoria. My first CD was Monster Hits 5. I bought it specifically for the song Cotton Eye Joe, I think by the Rednecks. Those are the days, really. Anyway, have a good evening and take care.
I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Jonas says they used to play it at Penarotti's. Love the music. 072 702 1702. I'm trying to squeeze in as much as possible.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the show, and thank you for the stand-in while John is away. Interesting that you said a CD is 44 years old. In my mind, I thought CDs came in the late 90s. That's because that's when I was introduced to CDs. So I actually thought it was a new technology. I didn't know that back in the 80s, this technology was already there. So my first CD that I had personally, and it's not because I had really loved this, but it was because that's the first one I could buy. It was Craig David's Born to Do It. But thank you for the information. I didn't know it was 44 years old. I thought it was like from 1998 or somewhere.
Hello, Tabo. Morne here. 1987, I bought my first CD. Bought it with pocket money. And the CD that I bought was Tiffany, and that was also the name of the album. And my favorite song there was I Think We're Alone Now. And then after that, there was quite a few CDs bought and listened to.
What a lovely one. Thanks very much for all your voice notes. Let's do it all over again tomorrow. Have a good one. You're on 702.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking, turning intent into execution. That's how ABSA are invested in Africa's energy future. Good evening on your Money Show tonight. Mark Bosman and Shirley Zinn resign from the board of the Spar Group amid claims they've been threatened as the group continues to struggle. The Reserve Bank says the company chaired by the DA's Mark Burke has taken